Okay, go.
We're recording Manny frames right there. You'll rise up to the fucking wall, so be mindful.
Be mindful.
All right.
Up to the wall, like all the way?
No. Like there's a little bit of the white
Hey,
wall.
mic
right
1 2, mic 1 2.
Oh, okay, so like
Mic check.
this
mic check.
way, okay.
So the frame basically cuts where this board's at. So let me scoot it in a little bit.
Amphibians across the sea.
So
Amphibians
Manny,
across
Manny,
the sea.
Just scoot a little bit over.
Towards
Manny,
me?
it's gonna be towards you.
Damn,
Manny,
dude.
you're gonna need a fist length away on the microphone. So, all right, we're recording.
Oh, boys.
We're recording.
Damn, that last person y'all had here was short. Golly.
What's up?
Just kidding. All right, let's get it.
All right.
Is it on? Double check before you
check.
sit down.
Start saying all this random
Motherfucker,
shit.
dude. See, this dude just sits
Rolling,
down, bro.
rolling. Hey,
Likes to
sit
take
down,
orders.
rolling. Hey, rolling.
Hey, this motherfucker just likes to sit down and take and give orders, bro.
Look, Baba, if the talent says, give me a bag of Skittles, no red ones.
Hey,
Recording?
You're the juice box guy. Give me a fucking juice box. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on.
We're Gucci? Dude, honestly, I like that you kept in that fucking, you were coughing like a motherfucker on that last podcast. That was awesome.
Why was it awesome?
Oh my.
Hey,
see me
recording. No, because we got to hear you cough like a motherfucker on the camera.
Bro, I'm stroking, dude.
I know, I was genuinely scared for you.
Samuel fucking texted the group channel. Was just like, why are y'all coughing in there?
Did he?
Yeah, he fucking sent us a picture of us.
Oh.
I see everything.
He's watching us right now. Freaking.
He probably is. I'll
Uncle
check. Let me see.
Uncle Sam is watching right now.
Nah, he hasn't. Fuck, my head's pounding.
Your what?
What?
Your head's pounding?
Yeah, but it's getting better because I drink water.
Did you give me a water, motherfucker? Or you
Yeah,
just selfish?
here.
This one right here.
Oh shit.
Cold too, bitch.
Damn, fresh off the press.
I know, dude. Fucking cocksucker.
Hey, rolling 1 2, rolling 1. You had it perfect before, no?
Yeah, but he fucking dropped the thing.
Yeah, get one of those jugs of water and put it on there.
Yeah.
Unless it'll break it.
We're good. All right.
All right.
Hold on,
okay.
I can't let Manny look taller than me. Hold up. Keep that in.
You gotta fix your hat.
dumbass.
Fix my hat.
Yeah, fool.
What's wrong with it?
You gotta fucking have it. Remember the way we had it? Remember the way Manny's got his?
Oh, okay.
I was in a gap for a little bit.
Yeah, I thought we
It's
were
pretty
just being
hot in here,
sick.
dude.
Yeah.
They get the air circulation in this dome right now.
Let me see.
All right, let me
No,
see.
I'm just gonna keep it
Oh
regular.
my
Oh,
God.
oh
Hey,
my
watch
God.
this beer, dude.
Damn, bro.
Fuck, dude.
Hey, where's your crackers?
This is what fucking happens when Albert sets everything up. All right, there we go.
All right.
Nice and
All right,
low.
we Gucci? Can we like
All right.
start?
Yeah, we could start. Let me pop this motherfucker open.
What's up, guys? Thank you all for tuning in. This is Manny B with the Skinny Water Boys,
All right.
episode 69.
Ooh, 69. Okay.
fool.
That you just, because obviously this is all just gonna be B-roll, but you just help me like add in the YouTube channel, Skinny Water Boys. So I'll do.
All right.
That'll be the last accolade, and then I'll roll into that.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
We're recording on the thing.
Recording on the video. Recording on, and I'll just double check. I can't fucking leave, but I'll double check. No,
Okay.
I think we're good.
I thought this is recorded.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
been,
is.
that's been
That's
recorded.
been
That's 6
yeah.
minutes in. That should be like 3 minutes.
Just flip your screen over so you can see.
Yeah.
I can't flip the fucking screen over.
Damn.
Motherfucker, we don't got money for that type of
That's
equipment.
what happens when you get the A69.
What is
4300.
It's
What
an
is that,
A700.
A700? 10,000?
Looks
That's
like
an
a
A7R4.
Damn.
Looks like you should get the R5.
If you gotta ask, Papa, you can't afford it.
Hell no, dude.
Okay, is it
I
going?
got that
All right,
good.
recording, we're 3 minutes and 45
That's
seconds in.
A6400. What did I get again?
You got the
A64?
A6600 or A6300, one of the two.
Okay, we
Yeah, I
Gucci.
think I
We're
said
all
that.
recording. Don't drop the mic.
You got a fucking lower tier camera.
Oh, this one's gonna be fun.
Roland, is that your little lure over there?
What? What little lure?
There's those little lures in that corner. What are those?
No, those aren't mine. Why would that be mine, bro?
Those little dildos?
Oh, it looks like locks. Okay, ready? Gucci?
All right.
All right, we're in. All right.
We're live?
We are live.
Okay. All right, guys. Welcome back to Unpacking Yagging. This is episode 9, I believe. This one's been much anticipated. This one's been one that we've been looking forward to. The people have been looking forward to it. We've got my brother from another mother, YouTube channel Skinny Water Boys. He's also on Team TG Canoe and Kayaks. And the first, and I don't know only, but the first Sims-sponsored kayak angler, Mr. Manny B, in the house.
Let's go, baby.
What up?
Let's go, man. Hey.
So it's been a minute, man. I could talk to this guy forever. It's one of my best friends, but we've got to pretend like we don't know each other today, all right? So we're going to start it off with just getting to know who you are, brother. So Manny B, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, man. When did you start getting into fishing in general? We'll get into the kayaks, we'll get into all that, but when did you start fishing?
Dude, probably. I remember the days growing up with my mom's side grandpa, and dude, he loved fishing, and I feel like that's where I got my passion for fishing. And he was a big time saltwater guy. He didn't do much freshwater, but I remember going to the coast, and dude, he would set us with the rods up out there, I think on Red Dot Pier. I don't know if it's still existing this day. I think it is, right?
I think Red Dot's still thing.
Red Dot's still around. But I remember sitting there on the edge, dude, just catching whitings or just not even catching anything. And then he would attend to us, dude. Like, we'd get our lines caught up and stuff. And then next thing you know, like, we'd fish till like late, 10 o'clock. And then he'd still go out and just come back with like fish for the rest of us. We're like, golly. But like, it was pretty cool learning to put us like, first, the kids first, and then still be so passionate to get back out there. And that kind of grew on me. And then
core memory.
Yeah, dude, hella core memory right there. And then fucking, so we liked redfish, we liked coast. So then, I mean, my mom took us to, what's that, Bronick? We used to go to Bronick growing up all the time because my dad was always busy working, put food on the table for us. I was OG of him. And then so my mom had to, like, take us, figure out things, what to do with 5 boys. If you can only imagine.
Bro, I met all of y'all, bro. All of y'all look alike.
Yeah, these are like 5 boys, and it was wild to thinking back now, like how the hell she did that. But we would go out, we wouldn't catch a damn thing, but we sure had a blast, trying. And then my older brother Nathan, he would throw the cast net, and we'd catch tilapia, like Puro Mex San Antonio, like hardcore. And like back then, that's how we grew up, like, fishing Bronick Lake. And then I remember the fondest memory of actually hooking into the first redfish. It was like, get going. And then my mom was like, hey, here, go. And I grab it, and I'm just freaking like, wow, I just started reeling like crazy. And then it, of course, popped the line because you can't horse a redfish, dude. That's just bad news right there. But like, I can still like right now, I can still picture that redfish tailing, like when it came up on the surface and you saw the red flash. And it was like, I think we were night fishing at the time.
How old were you?
Shoot, maybe 9, maybe something like that, 8 or 9, I think. And but like we would literally wake up. She would wake us up at 4 a.m. and get loaded up with everything, get there by 5, get in line. What is it, 6 a.m.?
Yeah, 6 a.m. Yeah, every time we go
Is that
during
new,
the
though?
winter.
Is that new?
I don't know. I mean, it's been a thing ever since I, and Travis have started going.
Yeah, so maybe we got up at 4, got ready by 5, and then got on the road to get there. And back then, I don't know if there was enough the same. I think 410 was still there, but it might have taken a little bit longer to get to Bronick. And so get there by 6 and get on that first pier to the left. And that's where I started fishing there. And then we would take like family trips to like the Guadalupe State Park. We do go fishing out there. And then of course never really caught. I mean, they weren't big, my family wasn't big fishermen, anything like that, like on like my parents' side as is. And then
They're just trying to get you out the house.
Yeah, get us out, just so we're not breaking the house and we can break
Side note, Manny had his baby shower yesterday at his childhood home. I was fucking with your brothers. I was like, hey, so this is the house y'all used to bully Manny in? And he was like, hell yeah, but if these walls could talk. That's what Nathan was saying.
Did he?
Yeah. I was like, that's funny.
Bro, all of y'all lived in that house?
Yeah.
That was wild. That's a really small house.
So we had
beautiful home, but very small.
For 5 boys.
5 boys.
Yeah, 5 crazy
Especially
boys.
considering how fucking big y'all are.
Dude, yeah. So like at one point it was 4 of us in one room. That one room off to the right. I don't know if you saw it. So, and then
I believe
even 5 of us, because Monica, we have a sister, and she had the only girl with 5 boys, so she had her own room, and us 5 boys shared a room, and it was just like constant mayhem. Like everybody was getting throwing stuff getting thrown off the top bunk and stuff like that. And then finally, my dad built a extra spare bedroom in the back for my sister. Then Nathan got his room. Then it was like 4 boys in there. So it was just everything was always breaking, constant just chaos.
I feel that, bro. So my brothers were the same way. They had to grow up is sharing a room forever. So they're 22 now. So I had a room, my sister had a room, and then when like the way the age worked out, when I moved out to be with my girlfriend at the time, wife now, my sister took over her old room, and then my brother split my little bedroom. And dude, my bedroom at the house is tiny. So I can only imagine.
Yeah,
but it just seems like the way it was back in the like late 90s, man. That's just how Mexicans grew up, bro. You know,
yeah.
two to a
I don't
bed,
know.
three to a
You were
bed.
leaving the doors open with the AC going.
Shit, that was God damn.
Everybody's like, shut the door, Albert.
I know, dude. Everybody's picking on me,
You never got
man.
smacked in the back of the head for leaving the door
Right?
open.
Somebody
All
grew
right,
up privileged, bro.
So let's keep on track. So you were like 9, 10. You were fishing at Guadalupe State Park. That's what you were saying. Okay, so then after that, I guess when did you start doing the kayaks? I think. Well, I'll let you tell it. Go. So when did you start doing it?
So like continuing that other story though, how it kind of progressed to where I'm at and like how I got into kayak fishing. So for some, like I always had this like connection or just deep passionate feeling every time I was outdoors. And then as I progressed through my childhood and went into preteen and whatever all that crap, and I got into more sports, basketball, freaking cross country, track, you name it, anything. Hey, boy was athletic.
Boy was a unit.
Yes, sir.
Boy
And
played basketball for church.
so and the
league
crazy
MVP.
so then as I was getting into my senior year, my buddy Topher, Chris, this whole time I thought his name was Topher. It was actually Christopher, but he didn't like that name, so I guess he just wanted to go by Topher. But anyways, so he started fishing, and then he started inviting me, and I was like, shoot, I haven't fished in a long ass time. I was like, sure, let's go, I'm down. Like, do something different than the norm of just going, partying, playing sports and stuff. Because like I was progressing out of sports because I was like, man, I'm not gonna try to go to college to play sports. I was like, so there's no point of wasting my senior year, playing sports if I'm not gonna go pro or anything like that. So then I started fishing, and then I was like, damn, this shit is fun. Like, what the hell? And so then I started YouTubing like crazy. So I'm like, all right, bass fishing Texas, bass fishing this, bass fishing that. And then as I was doing my own research and just going to the pond and applying what I learned off YouTube, I was like, damn, there is nothing down south in our area that talks about our waters. And they're always like, Mike Iaconelli, Kevin Van Dam, Sam Houston, right?
Tactical Bassin.
Yeah.
It was like Cali guys. It was
Everybody.
like
Yeah,
Florida
West Coast,
guys.
Florida.
It wasn't really, there was no like big, and even as silly as it sounds, there really is no still. I mean, yes, maybe at the coast, but I don't know if there's any South Texas bass fishing guys. I feel like it's us, if I'm being honest with you, because the bass fishing guys from Texas, like Tyler's Reel, Guggen, Lunkers TV,
They're from out of state.
LFT, all those guys, they're like Central Texas. They're Dallas. I mean, Guggen's headquartered in fucking, Dallas, right?
Yeah.
So dude, San Antonio down, we get no love, right? We are the love. We are the guys that put it on.
I also feel like there's not a lot of people that film their trips, Like I feel a lot of South Texas fishermen do not not all of them carry GoPros and film. That's just me though.
Yeah.
I could
But,
be
like,
1%
I see
wrong.
that.
So back when though, like I started YouTubing, I would find some videos here and there, but the quality was just like very poor. It was not like produced at all, or even it was just like they were just filming their experience, which was cool, but it wasn't like what was it informative or trying to teach you about the waters and down here where we're at. Because like I feel like these waters where we're at in South Central Texas, they don't compare to, if you go north, there's no rivers really. It's all just brackish, stained water, big lakes, things like that. West Texas is kind of similar. It's just that damn wind. Fucking can't get away from that shit.
So we got the wind farms out there.
Yeah, and then East Texas is just pond hopping kind of thing.
I think East Texas has a YouTube presence. You've got the Fish Whisperer. You've got
they took advantage of definitely what they're really good at.
Who else is over there? The
Catching with
dude,
Dinosaurs, Thai Pig Patrol.
Thai Pig Patrol. Who else? There's a guy, Rex Del Rey, wasn't he in Houston for a little bit?
Yep.
So like I feel like Houston, because Houston is a little more culturally / maybe more innovative with, like you were saying, like the quality of video. Like I feel like Houston has that, but San Antonio and a little north of San Antonio, southward, does not. So I think we were, like I said, I really feel strongly about that. We were back in, 2015, 2016, 2017, really starting to, catch our footage on film. And I think that's why we clicked as well as we did. So you were talking back to your story. You leave in high school. We had very similar stories, by the way, where it seems like you fished as a child. So did I. Then you kind of lost fishing a little bit because you started doing sports, which is exactly what I did. And then once I got out of high school, I was like, damn, I have so much more time to get back into fishing, right? It sounds like that's what happened with you. So then you started getting back into fishing, and then tell us, I guess, next after that, I kind of already know the story, but I want to hear it from your perspective whenever you met up with our good buddy Ross, and then how that kind of helped transition into what you were doing next. So what's up with that?
The funny thing with Ross, so like skip forward a few years, I'm into fishing heavily.
How old were you?
I was going to Northeast Lakeview, so I was maybe 20, 21,
Okay.
I think.
So it's like 2010, 2011?
No.
No,
I graduated in
2013.
11, yeah.
So it's more like 12, 13.
12, 13 is kind of where I started like ramping it up. Like I went to SAC downtown. I kept it, local, did not really want to go to college and things like that. And then like when I was going to SAC, my brother Samuel and I would always skip class because we're like, dude, at this class, like I'm not gonna get this credit. This teacher hates us because we always talk shit. So we would skip and go fish Brackenridge Park, and that's kind of where like I was like, dude, I freaking love this stuff, and taught me how to fish heavily pressured body of water.
Clean water,
and
too.
Clean, crystal clear water. And the crazy thing was I was using my grandpa's stuff that he left behind. And then I was like, all right, I'm tired of driving down, downtown. I can get some classes at Northeast Lakeview when they finally opened it up. And then next, I ran into Ross. And the funny thing is how I know Ross is his wife, Courtney. They grew up down the street from us. And then there was like 4 girls, I believe. It was Kate. I don't remember. I'm not going to list the names, whatever. But anyways, they lived down the street. So we knew them. And then I would always see Ross there. And it was just funny because you know how guys become friends. They're just always like, what's up? You say what's up enough, and then you become friends.
Hey, you want to go fishing?
That's kind of how Roland and I became friends.
that's
Samantha was like, who's that weird guy that's always looking at us? And then she's like, who's that guy? I think he added us on social media. I was like,
Hold on
I
one
think it's
second.
Roland.
Hold on. Let me just clarify. The reason why I'd be staring at them is because Albert would be drinking Lone Stars at 8 a.m. I'm just like, this dude's fucking wild.
Same thing. You're just like, so you and Ross got connected on dude.
Yeah, so like
Couple
I would
times.
drive by and he was always working. He had this F-250.
Hell
he was
yeah,
always
brother.
working on that truck and getting down. I would just honk and wave and what's up. I'm like, what's up? You know, he said, what's up?
Yeah.
And then at Lakeview, we had, I think it was like some weather class or some random just
You're
credit
trying to be
class.
cosmetologist. I got you.
Yeah, and I ain't no meteorologist.
Using that big head of yours to be able to tell the weather.
So
Yeah,
you
so
had a class with Ross.
And then I was like, you know what, this is kind of cool. I was like, it's teaching about weathers and barometric pressures and all that stuff that correlates to fishing. And then I'd be like, that was the easiest class ever. You barely had to do a 10. And then Ross, I'll be like, hey, you want to go fish? And then we were like, he goes, sure. So we started going bank busting, Cibolo, freaking anywhere we could bank bust.
Isn't there a lake by Lakeview? That's why it's called.
Live Oak Park.
Yes, sir.
Right there. There's some freaking tanks in there. Didn't Gil y'all catch
we
one, right?
talked about it a couple pods ago, or maybe a couple pods ago with Keith about how like he learned
in Commerce North.
he learned Converse North Park like with his graph. That's where he started graphing. And I was telling him about the dredges, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I've graphed that whole lake."
Yeah, that lake is nuts. That's right. So like basically that lake, anything in the northeast side of San Antonio, I've touched, fishing wise.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
We got it.
Look at that pork rind got you. He thought about it. He was just like, God, what did I just say?
He finished the comment. When the sentence ended, he was like, "I fucked up." Hey,
make that
fishing
clear.
wise.
The northeast side. Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so you started touching everybody. I mean, everything like fishing wise at Lakeview, and then then what y'all did you? When did you go from the bank to getting into a yak? Because that's obviously what the heart and soul of this podcast is about. You and I, we're gonna get to how we met in a little bit, but so when did you get in from the bank to the kayak?
So speaking of the kayak, so Josh Hansen, boy, my homie. We grew up together as well, and it was kind of everybody. All these different lives were just paralleling, coming together, and we were all kind of going the same direction in life where we wanted to, fish, be outdoors. We weren't really into, going out partying too hard, stuff like that. And so Josh was the first one to buy a kayak, and then I was like, damn, must have been nice, get off the bank, talking shit. And then I was like, all right, I got to get one. And that's kind of when we started Skinny Water Boys. So Josh and I started Skinny Water Boys. And because we would always fish, like me, Ross, Josh, everybody would just always go bang fish. And then we're like, damn, you know how like everybody was like, what do we call ourselves? Like, call our group, whatever kind of thing. And then I was like, well, we're fishing Skinny Waters. And then I was
We're
like,
skinny at the moment.
yeah, skinny at the moment. Hey, 6-pack abs, you name it. Hey,
A la verga.
yeah. Hey, and then I was off the seed oils. Hey, for Brandon right there.
I wasn't on that glyphosate life.
Yes, sir. EMF or no, non-existent back in our day. So then I finally got a Pelican kayak, and we're like, dude, let's go camping and let's go fishing. And so we went to Lake Placid there in Seguin, and we started up by the dam, which is below McQueenie, and we camped underneath the bridge, and then we parked the truck at the Get Out under I-10, and then we fished for like 12 hours, dude. Like longest day ever in a Pelican kayak. And at the time,
How's your back?
it was horrible. So like at the time, like I was super inexperienced. Like I didn't know what to expect out of a kayak or what I wanted out of a kayak. And the knowledge I have now, I was like, dude, you were an idiot back then. And like, I didn't stand up for 12 hours. So if you can imagine,
we all feel like that.
so dude, like if you can imagine, it's not standing up for 12 hours, sitting in like that position of a kayak with a molded seat into the kayak kind of thing.
I had Pelican. Yeah, it's like it's a road. It was a 2-piece kayak. They're not rotomolded. They're whatever the opposite is of that. And it was you're like your ass is in the kayak, but nothing else. They gave you like a little 3-inch, little pad.
Little pad for your back and thing. But yeah, so then like I stuck like maybe a 4.5, 5-pound bass, and I was like, holy shit, like this is already changing the game for me. And that's what gave me the advantage in kayak fishing was I thought I was so good at from the bank, and I was like understand it so well. Now I was fishing on the kayak where I can get to other places and help me excel in actually catching bigger fish, finding fish. And I always say, if you can catch them from the bank, you can catch them from anywhere. And we did that trip. The next thing you know, Josh left his keys in my truck and at the top. And so luckily his dad came through, picked us up, and got us back to our truck. But that's kind of I got my first kayak experience. And then who was next? Then I finally progressed. I was like, all right. After that trip, I was like, dude, I gotta upgrade. And then searching Craigslist was like the move in that time.
Still is the move. This is where we got these microphones. Craigslist? Yeah, Craigslist and OfferUp.
Manny or Roland had it was a male searching for male, and they traded for. Oh my god! So anyway, so you got on Craigslist, and then
so then I found this Jackson Cuda. Because like I started just doing YouTubing, and because that's how I got into fishing. I taught myself everything, and what do you call it? So I found this guy selling Jackson Cuda freaking $1,300, and I'm like, no, I think I was maybe 20. Yeah, I was still in college, and I was like, how am I gonna afford that? And so I finally saved up enough money and got it. And dude, it was just game changing. I was fishing Dunlap every freaking day that I could fish, and then that's when I started inviting Ross out on the kayak from the bank. And so the funny thing is, so like Dunlap, before it was like, dam broke. Yeah, dude, everybody would, nobody would be fishing really. The only time,
just the tournaments, right?
Thursday nighters, I would see that all the time. Those fools, dude, they'll be like going 70 miles an hour on that skinny ass river. Like I was like, dude, something's got to change. I'm so glad the dam broke, because I was like, y'all fools are idiots out here.
They're gonna be idiots in the next couple years, because it's gonna fill back up.
CCTV footage shows Manny just like there, like breaking the dam and shit.
Yeah, right. So then, like, dude, I would almost get hit so many times because there would be like 2 boats. If there's 2 boats coming, like, bro, there's not much room coming down that road. And then especially then a wake boat's coming and a jet ski's coming.
I'm not looking forward to the renovations being completed, because now maybe the fishing will spark up like for a couple months.
Yeah.
But then once next summer rolls, I don't even know when the plan is to be done.
I don't know.
But if it's a year from now, 2 years from now, when that time does come, it's gonna be kind of shitty. Once the it's maybe 50 yards, 75 yards at some points. Maybe. So imagine that 2 boats doing 50. You're in a fucking kayak.
It's gonna be an accident.
Yeah,
when it happens.
I mean, it's not fun. It's not gonna be.
A lot of people, are used to now not even seeing boats. Maybe you see a jet boat here.
Maybe.
but yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of issues in the next year in that lake.
Yeah, when it's fixed, there will be issues.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And so then Ross and I would fish it, and then the funniest thing was like we were fishing by this like the seawalls, and Ross caught this nice bass. We're taking a picture. Wake boats are coming by, and we're just like flying up and down, and then waves started crashing against the seawall, and he went up over it, and the wave sucked him back in. And like, dude, he almost landed on the seawall. It was the wildest thing ever.
Oh my god!
And so like at that, and then I was like, all right, we got to find somewhere new. But the thing was like Dunlap taught me so much about how to target giant bass, and that's where like so like when I was into it heavily after I got my Jackson, it took me about maybe a year and a half, 2 years to get my first double digit out of there, and dude, that thing was nuts. So like the day Ross and I went fishing, he was tearing it up. He was killer with the spook, and so he was catching fish after fish, and I couldn't catch shit. And I was like, all right, dude. I was like, for me, I was like, I do not want to go home empty-handed. You know what that feeling is?
Yeah.
And so Ross says, all right, I got to head home. And so he dips out, and I end up staying later, and it was probably getting close to midnight. And finally, first fish, dude. We got out there like right after work, so probably like 5 or 6. Like left early from work, and caught my first fish, and I was like, damn, all right, now I can go home. And then it's dark as hell out there right now. And I come up to the spot, and I was like, oh shoot, I remember this spot. There's this like log jam pushed against this what do you call boat ramp, and the boat ramp is like an elevated one, so it's not like actually pushed into the ground, so bass can hang out underneath the backside. And I was like, all right, I'll make this last cast here, and then I'm gonna call it a night. I'm throwing a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait with a 5-inch paddle tail on the back, no trailer hook or nothing, just straight up like that. And that's like probably the best night fishing conventional tackle I've used or I know of to use that produces big fish. So anyway, so I'm casting, right? And I know how the log's position because I've fished this place tons of times and didn't get it right. What I'm trying to do is get it to where it hits the damn thing, the log, and pops over it. And then there's me in my head already just envisioning the 10-pounder right there. Next thing you know, third cast, I felt the log, my line coming up the log, and then I went pop, pop, and it was just boom, just like a slam. And I was like, set the hook, and I was just like, what the hell? It wasn't moving. And I'm just there with this little tiny rod, 10-pound fluorocarbon, and then it just starts going out to the middle, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is huge. And then I turn my drag off, and it starts to go, and it just starts stripping line, and it's pitch black. I'm fighting this thing, and then I finally turn my headlamp on, get to where I'm comfortable. I'm shaking like just uncontrollably, and then I see this thing turn around in the water. His mouth was like that big. It felt like a cell, like its cell was trying to just pop, like, and then like the paddlefish too with their mouth. It looked just like that, and I thought it was a striper. Then at first, it was just so big. I haven't seen a fish that big, and then I net it. Finally, it barely fit the net. I get it in there, and I'm just freaking going crazy. I'm by myself. It was pitch black, and dude, I had to double take it because how big it was, and it ended up being 26 inches, mouth closed, 10 pounds even. And the funny, dude, it was unreal. I called my buddy Ross, and damn, I don't remember his name right now. I'm drawing a blank, but I met him out on the lake too, and I helped him land a 9-pounder. And so I called him too because I knew he had a scale. I didn't have a scale, and so he pulled up, hauled it, and he was like, "You fucking finally did it!" Like it was nuts, dude. And because we were both like talking about like who's gonna get the first 10-pounder out there, because I'd always see him. And then so I finally got one, and dude, I was just like felt so accomplished.
How old were you?
I was looking back at it, it was 2014, I think it was.
Okay.
So 22.
So I don't think I don't think I had officially met you at that point yet.
No, we haven't met, yeah. And so that was like, oh my gosh. And so like that was like, for me, it's like sometimes when I hit goals, I'm like, all right, what's next? What am I going to do next? What do I want to do next? Like, is it still even worth doing? And so I kind of got into like a slump, like, I I caught my 10. Because like, I think on the last podcast y'all talked about like, it's like it's like a fish of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, man.
And I had the opportunity, and it, I was blessed with it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then after that, it's just like, I've caught multiple fish that should have been 10, but weren't 10. Like
so technically, that's your only 10-pounder. Technically, to this day
is my only 10-pounder. I caught a bigger fish than that probably a few months later. Remember when?
That's when we had
That was
finally
a few years later.
it was definitely we was doing a blood moon, like a super moon,
super
some
moon
bullshit.
night.
We went to 2 different chain lakes and we were like, good luck, and I had one that came off.
Yeah,
but yeah, I got you. Okay, so then that you reach basically a goal that we talked about in the last podcast, actually, that in Texas, because we are blessed with so many fucking big fish, that in Texas it's 2 in a lifetime, which is cool, but it's still hard. I mean, fucking hard. I mean, you've been fishing, like I said, I consider our friend group and our people that we are close with some of the best anglers kayak wise in South Texas. So we're 30. I'm 31, going to be 32. You're what, 30? Going to be 31?
Yeah, 30.
In a couple.
31 in May.
So you've got, we're 30. If you want to get, technical, we're halfway through our life, right? Most Hispanics average age is like 75, 78, right? I'm just being real. We're halfway through our life and you got one.
Diabetes might end up getting
I'm halfway
one of
through my
us.
life, haven't got one. I've got one that should have been. We were all together that day. It was like 25 something and topped out at like 9 whatever before the scale turned off. But it's
so many fish
again,
like that.
it's we're halfway through our life. You've caught one. I've been close. I'm gonna get there, but that's awesome. So you reach that, and then at that point you're full blown kayaking. You've reached a goal. You've reached a milestone that not many guys can meet. Because again, it's supposed to be once in a lifetime, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. You know what I mean? So you've already hit it. Then you're like, fuck, what's next? So then I guess you start doing more YouTube, I guess, because you're like, okay, I reached that goal. Now let me maybe transition into a different YouTube at the time. 2014, 2015, 2016, it felt like YouTube was like it. Like that was the go-to social media. Now it's Reels. Now there's so many different TikTok,
avenues.
blah, blah, blah. But at the time, YouTube long form 10-minute content was the shit. And then that's when I guess you started doing that.
Yep. So fishing heavily and filming YouTube. And then I think it was then how I met. You want to get into that right now or not yet?
Well, it was focused on you first. Like we'll get to that point, but is that next? Is that the next step, or is that?
I feel like
when did you start your YouTube channel? Do you remember?
I started actually when I was bank fishing. So like when I was still going to SAC, I was bank fishing, just filming. And I think my first video I finally posted was over there in San Antonio at Bud Lake. Only OGs remember that lake. That lake.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Baddest lake ever, dude. You could go there and catch like 60 bass a day. It was unreal, dude. And
we've got some stories from that lake.
What happened to it?
Nothing.
It's still there, but I don't know if the fishing's still any good. It's just they did a lot of work to block people from actually fishing it because a lot of people would be super disrespectful. They would trash the place. They would go on the golf course, trash the golf course, piss off the golfers, and then it's just like a recipe for disaster. That's how it always happens. Once the word gets out, people always ruin it like that. Sadly, I wish people had a little bit more respect for the outdoors,
for the water,
the waters, and then people would pull up with 5-gallon buckets, we're just loading up
at
fish.
Bud Lake.
At Bud Lake,
Okay.
Boom, they would just throw them in the bucket, leave with 2 buckets full of bass.
Gotcha.
And that, dude, it was filled because I think it's connected to Salado Creek,
something like that. I just looked it up. So you said you started when you were bank busting, so that would have been longer than my first YouTube, I didn't go look at yours because you found a lot more videos than but I just like scrolled really fast, and my first video ever posted, it said 7 years ago. So technically that would be 2016 because it's 23. So you must have started 2014, 2015, or way before that.
It was probably 2013, 2014.
Gotcha. So you were ahead of the curve as far as like, I think I started YouTubing because you were YouTubing and we had become really good. If my first video was 7 years ago.
Yeah. So
that would have been 2016.
I think I just had a memory come on Facebook 7 years ago. I caught like a 24.5-inch bass, or 24-inch bass Town Lake.
Gotcha.
In Austin.
Okay. And were we already hanging? You were already hanging at that point.
I think we were slowly talking here and there. Like, hey, I don't know if I trust this.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Hey, that's the way Albert was with me, bro. Don't take offense.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. No. We were both like that.
We're both like that. Yeah. So then you reach a lifetime achievement essentially. Then you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back into the fishing with YouTube, adventure fishing, skinny water boys. This is who I am, who my identity on the water. And then I guess
nobody was producing anything like what I was, like the angles I had, the camera stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like it was just wild to see that. I was like, dude, no one's in my area. I was like, I have no competition right now. It was kind of cool.
It was.
Because I got to, experiment different, things, just different ways, different fishing tactics, just different things. And at the point, like I was like, I mean, I just liked filming because like when I was growing up with my brothers, my parents got a camcorder, and then like back in the day was Jackass was the move, like,
dude.
everything Jackass. So like we would do all the stunts.
I think we talked about that like at one of our first, second, or
feel like
first or
that.
second episodes. My dumbass best friend at the time, we had a video camera and we would record ourselves and we would call it. Again, I don't know if this is gonna get cancelable, but kill yourself. That's what we would. That's what we'd call it, and we do the stupidest shit.
Dude.
We'd roll down
Jesus
on like
Christ,
we'd
Albert.
roll down on like those like kids tricycles, and we make like dirt ramps in the cul-de-sac because my parents had a hill in their front yard, and we just like go flying, and we'd have the camera, and then go watch the footage and be like, "Fuck, we're stupid," but that was the move. Like, Jackass was what you wanted to do.
This is one of those times where. Albert usually and I are looking at each other and be like, well, we never did that. Like, and this is one of those times me and Manny are looking at each other like,
hey, he said Jackass was the move.
Dude, I'm telling you.
yeah, but he didn't fucking say name a fucking show called Kill Yourself.
That was our show.
No, so we would film like these basketball skits, just all kinds of skits. We would orchestrate it, be like the producer, the fit cam guy with the angles, and then
that's funny.
We do it all. So then I already enjoyed filming, and then I was like. And I would film myself play basketball because, like, I was little. Everybody was like, I'm going to NBA. I'm going, I'm big time. So I would film and, like, critique and learn what I could do better. And that's how I started, actually, was just filming myself to critique myself and get better at what because, like, for me, I like to be, I want to say a perfectionist, but like I like to be really good if I put my hand, like put my mind to something. Like I really want to. If I'm putting my time into it, I'm gonna really get good at it.
We feel that. We talked about that about the podcast.
And so like I was like, I got to do something filming, and then I was able like, all right, that's how I missed that fish. My hook set wasn't right. So I was setting the Thomas hook set. Like dude, I sent that video to him, and it was funny because we were both cracking up because like I was doing the same hook set like really high, and then finally. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I fished with him so much. I've seen him go like,
dude, yeah, it's so funny. I mean, Thomas is awesome, though. We were actually fishing, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Dude, it was always a good time with Thomas.
Thomas is a fucking great time. I'm glad we had him on.
Yes, dude. If you get a chance to fish with Thomas, hey, it's a blast.
Take him up on it.
And, what do you call it? So I was, that's how I started critiquing myself, started filming, and then I started hearing, I started getting into Facebook pages, and then I started hearing about ACK, and I was like, ACK, I was like, what the hell is that? And so I was like, let me go check it out. I didn't realize it was here in San Antonio. So I went there, I checked it out. The store was cool. It was awesome. Talking to, fellow kayak anglers, people that, share what I share, the passion for. And they were like, hey man, you into tournaments? I was like, tournaments? What the hell? What's that? Like, they have kayak fishing tournaments? Because, they always had bass.
Yeah, boats.
I was like, how do you...
This was like the fucking baby...
Like almost the beginning of kayak fishing
right now...
down here. I don't know anywhere else, though.
Right, yes. Right now, kayak fishing tournaments, like, the payouts are 10 grand, right, for the big tournaments.
Imagine that back then.
And, dude, and now people still consider... Now, the point I'm trying to make is that now people still consider it like it's infancy stages. Like, kayak fishing will get there one day when it's a $100,000 payout. But that is, in my opinion... Because we came in around, I know our story is going to link up pretty soon here in your story. That's where I felt like is the true infancy, where we were standing in line at ACK with a fucking SD card in an 80 angler line for them to fucking plug it up, right? Dude, it was so that's the true infancy. And then one more point before you continue is that it sounded like
this is the same ACK that was on Days of Valor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, down the street. That's where I bought my. That's the one I bought my first Bonafide.
The other point I heard you say was you started you merged your love for fishing and your love for camera work into the YouTube. Is what you were saying a while ago about how you were doing skits and angles with basketball. Then you just transitioned from, okay, I made a lifetime achievement. Now let me go ahead and merge my two passions together. And then that's basically what you were explaining is YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
okay.
So, what was it? Yeah, I just went a brain fart.
We were talking about ACK. You were like, somebody invited you to a tournament.
Yeah, so
have tournaments.
I went. I'm trying to remember my first tournament. It was I think the first tournament I did was Fayetteville, Fayette County. Dude, I had my buddy Zach and I pre-fished it once, and it was okay. I mean, we got a couple fish, if that maybe, and then we came back for the tournament day. It was like total, it's always like this. You go pre-fish or just go scout the area. The weather looks right. Weatherman lies. 99% of the time. He's rarely right. So we get there, it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds, gusts up to 40, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I'm pretty novice to the kayaking and like big lakes, big bodies of water.
You're just starting.
And I'm like, dude, is this a dumbass move for us to go? I'm like, if I do flip and end up getting in trouble, I was like, there's 100 and some kayak anglers out there and boaters. So I was like, I feel like I'd get some help. I hope. So we both ended up going. And we kind of did our own thing. He went one way, I went one way, and dude, it was just miserable fighting this wind in a kayak. And of course, the people back then who had the Hobies and pedal drives were like the elite. They were like the top of the guys because they could fight the wind the most. But yeah, so that was just like my first experience of kayak tournament fishing, and it was horrible. And I caught maybe 2 fish. I ate at 3 in the morning, and then I was so like adrenaline rush, so pumped up that I didn't eat anything else or take any snacks. So I was like on the water, like so hungry, and like I got to that point where like I started puking up acid because my stomach was turning
like
so
you're
much.
throwing a bile or something.
Yeah, I was just like, I need food, and like I get really bad, dude. Like,
oh, dude,
you know what I mean?
There's so many stories of Manny and I where like we're in our thick of we were living in the glory days and we didn't realize it yet. But there was days where like you'd be like, I didn't fucking eat breakfast, man. You'd be pissed.
Dude,
like,
yes.
and then remember, I think one time you like slammed some Thin Mints. And
dude, we
then,
both did.
Dude,
Hey, we'll
there's
get to
so many.
that.
Yeah, I remember we were going to a tournament. All we had was like Manny's big deal was like, dude, I have to fucking eat, or I'm like
Yeah,
a
it's
hangry
useless.
person on the water.
Shit, bro.
So he like we were scrounging in my truck, and I was like, I got some Thin Mints.
Dude,
we
was-
like split a roll of Thin Mints.
That's fucking what 5-4 in the morning.
Yeah. Like right before a
Forcing
tournament.
Thin Mints down our mouth.
Yeah, dude, it was funny. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
I feel that, man. We talked about that with Rolando.
So he progressed from Thin Mints to now Rockstar energy drinks and gas station
Gas station
tacos.
tacos.
And some
Those
dip.
will hold you over longer than Thin Mints.
Yeah.
Thin Mints are the worst
that
breakfast.
is
Breakfast of loser, not
horrible.
champions.
Your stomach hurt?
Dude, it was
Yeah,
bad.
it's bad. I mean, Thin Mints, bro. First thing in your mouth.
Girl Scout Thin Mints, bro.
No, they're amazing, but not for breakfast at 4 in the morning.
Hell
Oh my God.
So, we were talking about that with Rolando, how you do all this shit to prepare for tournament day, but tournament day comes, it's generally terrible condition. I've been there, you've been there, all that. So now that you've kind of mentioned your buddy Zach, I was hoping you'd mention your buddy Zach, because I think your buddy Zach is kind of how
he met
you
you.
and I started like to really kind of get introduced to one another. It was Zach and maybe
No, it was, I thought it was Mark Madden.
Mark. Oh, Mark. Yeah, Mark
that
too.
fool?
Yeah, I don't know where he's at. I hope he's doing well. You know,
I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen him. But anyways, a guy that I knew in the truck world, because at that time I had already started my business. It had maybe been in its infancy. I was just fucking spray painting headlights on a balcony, just doing it for cash in college. And then I guess a Facebook mutual friend was like, hey, you will like this guy and you will like this guy. And I know both of y'all. And then at that point, that was back when Manny and I were like, I don't know if I trust this dude. Like, I mean, like not in that way, but like with our spots. Like spots are sacred at this point, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I learned from my buddy Colton Scott's dad. He was like, he would get mad if Colton would take us to certain spots. And then I was like, what? I was like, what the problem is? I was like, we're fishing. Like, we're not doing anything bad. And then now where I'm at now, I feel like I was at his age back then.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
And I was like, those mother.
Yeah. No, that's happened,
Now
dude.
I get it. Now I get it.
I know guys have burned you. I know guys have burned me. Right? We're not gonna mention any names, but like you take somebody somewhere, and then like the next fucking week they're out there with 3 dudes, and you're just like,
And those 3 dudes tell another 3 dudes.
I was like,
and
I trusted you with something I'm so passionate about.
Yep.
Now fuck you, right? So that's how we were at the beginning. We were just
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know if I can,
Yeah.
you know. And I remember, so we kind of got introduced, maybe added each other on socials through Mark, and then somehow Zach got involved or
So I think-
Ross.
Yeah,
What-
Zach, he would like, I guess he talked to you at the tournaments. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I was like, hey, who are these guys?
Yeah.
So
And I was with Travis.
Yeah,
Travis
you
and
were
I were
Travis.
doing kayak tournaments, and
And
then what?
you were like, I got really like the Coleto Creek tournament was coming up. Remember that?
Yeah, you got sick.
And then I was like, you like, hey, you still going? And I was like, nah, because I think you rented a fucking cabin.
I
Right?
did. I was trying to get everybody just like, split the
meet up.
cabin or whatever.
I was so down for that, but then I had like 104 fever, and then I was super bummed out, dude. And then I woke up at like probably 5, and I was like, felt like nothing ever happened, dude. Non-existent like COVID. I was kidding.
So you just woke up and you showed up to the tournament late, right?
Yeah, so I showed up hella late. I hauled ass with San Antonio. to Victoria, and it's just outside of Victoria, so it was about 2 hours and some change. And then I get out there, and the part that was really good is I got to pre-fish it, and then my grandparents live in Victoria, so I fished it. I think. No, not even after that. I fished afterwards that lake. But anyway, so I got to pre-fish it, got kind of an idea of game plan where I wanted to fish. I pre-fished it with Zach. So I go out to the island, you know the island out there?
Yeah, it was like a bunch of birds and shit.
Yeah, so I caught, like my first fish was like 14, 15 inches. And then I was like, I kept throwing. And then I think we passed each other at that point. And you were like, we both looking at each other. And I was like, is that Albert? And then I was just like, I was going to say what's up, but I was just kind of in the zone. I was like, I will talk to him afterwards. And then so I went to my spot, my main spot, and Zach, luckily, he pulled the audible and went a totally different direction. And if he went there first, he would have freaking did really well.
Yeah, got all the fish you got.
Yeah, and so I went back there, and next thing you know, I started flipping the water. Back then, the water was really high, so you had a lot of vegetation to fish. And I was flipping reeds, flipping stickums and stuff, and I just started catching fish after fish after fish. And I stayed in that cove the entire time, the rest of the day. And then I showed up like 2 hours late, ended up getting second. But the only thing that sucked, it was the social side of it. So it's not like that impressive. But still, I mean, I drove, 2 hours late.
Yeah, you showed up
pretty
late,
well.
sick, down and out, and you still did well enough to place. I was fucking probably fishing the social, still learning how to fish lakes, and didn't even place. So, and I remember, and then I saw you at the weigh-in, and I was like, hey, motherfucker, you showed up, And then from there, man, it kind of like our trust with each other kind of slowly built, but it was still like, well, I don't know this motherfucker. So I do remember the first time we actually decided to link up. We went out to a spot again out in the hill country that we had both supposedly had done before. And
I've done this, just that creek part.
Talk close to the mic.
Gotcha, huh?
Talk close to the mic, man.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I did the creek part, and dude, that's where I started fishing that section of it. And then you were like, fool, let's try the river. I was like, this fool doesn't know how to catch.
And then we did it.
Dude, we were going at it so hard, right? Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Like we would, the competition was as lively, and we would he would catch a 20, I'd catch a 20, and 18. And I'm like, this fool right here. Dude, it was just fish after fish. Like it was like tournament ourselves. And that's kind of like, what is the iron sharpens iron?
Iron sharpens iron. Like at that point, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. I know what I'm doing. He's fun. It's friendly. It's competitive. I think that competitiveness amongst the boys it's driven both of us to where we are now with our fishing. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd be the same angler if I never met you, and maybe you feel the same. So it's like it's just that was so cool to think back about those times when we first started going to these waters together, and it was just our life kind of like entangled so much that where like we're both Hispanic, and then you had like a redneck best friend. And I had a redneck best friend, so then they were best friends. Like, so it was just cool to see, like, you had a Travis, his name was Ross. I had a Ross, his name was Travis. So I was like, hey, man, bring your friend Ross. And I was like, I'll bring my friend Travis. Let's hang out,
Yeah.
You got friends, we got friends,
Started
we could be
meshing.
friends. I pulled a Kanye on you.
Speaking of best friend, wasn't he like tripping out when you showed him his pair of Nikes to wear for the wedding? Your best friend on the day of the wedding, didn't you get everybody a pair of Nikes?
Yeah, I did.
And he's used to wearing boots. Wasn't he like?
Ross and
he was like, "What the fuck is
Ross
this?"
and Josh had their ostriches clean.
was this,
Damn. All right. Off topic ass question.
What the hell?
ADHD.
Hey, no. It's just he's like, I got a redneck friend, and the first thing that stuck out to me was just Manny called me. He's like, hey man, he's like, yeah, I got these pair of Nikes for all my groomsmen and whatnot, but I don't know how my best friend's gonna end up reacting to these Nikes.
That's funny. So you fucking dummy. So then we did start like going back to the spot because it was producing, right?
Dude,
and then we would do different sections, and I was like, hey bro, let's try this section, and then this section, and then this section, and then a core memory with us as friends is I remember when we did our first overnight trip as a group of friends, and we've done hundreds since, but our very first one, we did a lower quad run, and your mom or your dad dropped you off. Travis's mom dropped us off, and Travis's mom we scheduled to pick up for her way down river. Like, dude, it was so cool. Like, it was me, you, Ross, and Travis, and that was like our
supposed to be a 2-day float, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 2-day float, but the flow was up. We turned it into an overnight. We did a section that's regulated by flows, so without getting too much into detail, and dude, that was like that right there is when I knew, oh, dude, these guys are gonna be friends for life. This is like, to find somebody as passionate about doing this dumb shit in a plastic boat is it's like you don't find that every day. So like I remember that trip vividly. That's when we were tricking Travis with the blow ups and the rocks and
hey, remember Ross with the hammock?
Oh yes, Ross in the hammock, and then like at that point, Ross was like, Ross and Travis started hitting fucking Chichilit like it was like coke. They were like,
dude, that dude, for real, we get the Chichilit and just put it on there and go.
Wait, hold on, real quick. What the fuck is chicholín?
Chichilit, like tajín, tajín, like salt.
Okay, Chile.
Chile, yeah, we call it chichilit.
Okay, yeah, like
It has like a similar sound to it.
It's like I used to eat that as a kid, but it was called Lucas back in the day.
Oh yeah, it was Lucas. Whatever.
Yeah, Lucas. Now
we call it chichilit.
Then twang salt.
Yeah, and we would like Ross would like pour like a fucking 2 grams in his hand and just lick it up and then swallow it and then just go like. And then everybody started. It was like a kind of pick me up to the morning to like you were down and out.
Right? No, just water.
Wow.
It was hot as fuck. You needed to pick me up.
Yeah, it was, dude.
Yeah, dude. You literally would take a big
like a shot.
Exactly. It was like a powdered shot. Dude, I remember that trip so vividly. My
mouth is salivating right now.
Right, just thinking
mine
about
is
it.
too.
Right? Like, dude, I remember
brown showing right now.
I guess I guess the cool thing about that trip, man, what it meant to me was it meant that like that camaraderie that I knew again that we didn't in the moment. You're not thinking about it. You don't remember like that this is going to be a core memory or this is going to be something I remember for the rest of my life or like this is going to set the tone for the rest of life forward. But I remember like I caught a fish on the left-hand side. That was another big thing when we used to go with groups a lot. We'd have to do left, right. And we were very conscious.
I think no one else did that. Nobody
Albert's
else did
like left, right, and he's like, yeah, you get the left side. It's hot over there, and he ends up getting the fucking right.
But at the beginning of our like,
you get left side, but hey, when you get a good side, I'm gonna come over there.
I'm
gonna get ahead of you real quick. Start fishing your side.
No. At the beginning of our friendships, we were very conscious of, hey, I caught a big fish. Now let's swap. Or hey, you stick right, you stick.
Shit, I wish it was like that whenever we go fishing.
Man, you showed up too late, Buggo. So like now it's whatever. But at that point, I remember, dude, there was one point where I think maybe you caught a catfish first on a chatterbait, and then you're like, fuck it, string it up, we're taking that. Yep. And then once we started getting later in the day, it set the tone of like how we were there for each other with bringing camping things. Everybody was designated a separate thing. Yeah. Like you were designated to bring this, that, or the other, and Travis was designated to bring the grill topper, and I was designated to bring this shovel I found at a garage sale, military shovel that you could wear on a belt.
Hey, Travis bought probably the most pinnacle thing was that toilet seat.
Yes. Oh, that trip. Yes. Dude, I look. Okay, cut this. Reel this. There is not a better shit that I've ever taken in my life than sitting on this toilet seat with no bottom in the middle of a rapid, about 2 inches, and then first thing in the morning, 5:30, sun's just creeping up, and you're just hearing the birds chirp, and you're just letting one sing downriver.
And dude, Manny's down there drinking water and shit.
Manny's down there on the video. So this is our new life straw.
This is Manny and Skinny Water Boys right here. I'm gonna introduce y'all to Live Straw real quick.
And then that I remember that catfish was so leathery.
Yeah,
it was the worst catfish experience of our life. Remember that stuff, dude?
That has a texture of a baseball glove. That was a different one. That was the drum.
That was the
Gasper Goo.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that's the thing. We've done, maybe not hundreds, but close to 100 overnight trips. We've done countless miles. I know if there was a way to keep track, dude, Manny and I have probably floated thousands of river miles together, literal thousands. Easily. So like, we built that teamwork, that camaraderie, that, hey man, I know this guy has my back. I know I have his back. We've got each other's interests in mind. Our goals were to like really showcase the Texas river systems and what it had to offer. And I feel like we did that. I know it sounds arrogant and I know it comes off, can be cocky, but I really do feel like, man, you and I and our group of friends, we've really pushed the needle forward with making kayak fishing look cool.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was say push the needle forward. I'm sorry. Just figured out how taking dumps out in the woods. I'd be like, you're probably responsible for all the fucking water damage going on in Corpus Christi during the summers where people can't fucking swim.
So yeah, no, dude, I really feel like that was like it was crucial to who we are now. Like
that started the beef from Austin and San Antonio.
Oh yeah, we'll mention it a little bit. We'll get it there. But so man, that was really cool, man. You know, obviously, you know, you feel I really appreciate you as a friend, man. And I mean, now I'm glad that we're finally able to do the pod together. I know people have been asking.
Make sure y'all are actually good at this first.
I remember people would be like, man, when are you gonna have Manny on? It's like, man, Manny is literally like one of my best friends. I'm probably gonna end up headed up to your house, you know, tomorrow to fish up there some waters because we don't have shit here. My wife kicked me out the house for 2 days. But dude, it's like, man, that those memories and all the miles to where we did our Super Bowl run, which is the Pecos, right? Like, dude, we did. I'm so glad that our mutual friends made us meet because, and I know if Travis was here, we'll have Travis on one day, man. He'd be the memories that we've had, us three, and then Ross, and then, I mean, the Lone Star River Riders getting into the beef with Austin. Like, dude, I don't know that I would have cared to be this good if I didn't meet y'all guys, right? Like, it was part of it.
It's like when people talk about it, it's just like fishing, okay. Like, oh, what do you mean you're good at it?
Or like, also, it is kind of dorky sometimes. So when you see like the campers that are like, yeah, I camped 24 miles, you know, like, that's goofy. Why not fish with it? And also like show, I remember when we would, like, when I was doing YouTube, I know you had definitely inspired me to start making YouTube videos. Like, cool, man, we're both doing this. I'm doing it from a different perspective. I've got a little different personality. So that was cool. But I remember when we would like film the B-roll, like setting up camp, digging the holes for the fires. And then we started to do like the teaching, make sure you're respectful, make sure you dig in your campsite, make sure you leave it better than you left it.
Being conservation.
No, there wasn't, right? Make sure like that you cover your holes for fires. Make sure that you leave it better than you found it. We've run into the law. We've run into asshole landowners. We've been through it all. Like it's super cool. And I think it's been a topic that's come up a lot, or a saying. I know we talked about it with Thomas. I know Roland has mentioned it a bunch, but quality time on the water. I think another aspect to that is quality time on the water with quality people on the water. Because you would mention when I got off the bank into the boat, I was able to hit different vantage points from different angles and learn different parts of fishing. It just basically opened your arsenal tenfold. You know what I mean? And now it's cool. Like now what I say is, if you and I are going to fish together, I know there's not going to be no babysitting involved, and there's nothing wrong with that, like babysitting and introducing new people to the sport. But I know with you, it's like, you're fully locked and loaded. I'm fully locked and loaded. And together, if one of us is on a bite, we're gonna help each other out, vice versa. And I know you're comfortable with things that I'm not, and I'm comfortable with things that you're not. And we kind of have both helped each other's fishing styles to get to where we are now. Yeah. So man, it's been fun as fuck. I mean, I know now we're gonna have our children are gonna grow up together. We're gonna continue to grow up together. Hopefully we can get Roland to be full-time swim bait god, right, by the end of it, tying his own knots y todo. But I'm looking forward to honestly, I'm looking forward to the rest of our life as far as like where we're gonna go from where we've been. So I mean, I feel like that was a real dope intro into who Manny B is. So I mean, what else do you want to talk about, man? Let's you run the show for a minute. What do you want to bring up? Like, I know you had mentioned the beef with Austin, and we can dabble into that. Or I mean, is there anything else that you want to?
Maybe like a preface for the next pod.
Because we're gonna have on each other. We're gonna have
so much detail, like to tell the story correctly.
Yeah,
without being biased.
Yeah. We got to make sure all the information, all the facts are laid out, so we know why.
And it's so silly to even say fishing beef, right? Like,
but
it's so stupid and it's so childish, but like there was because we were good. Hey, we didn't look like everybody else.
Right? No, but
we didn't follow the norm of like, oh,
no, we didn't.
We got to check in with so and so. We need a hall pass. Not really, but like, what I mean?
Yeah. Because fishing,
we just did our own thing.
As much as maybe people don't know, maybe people do know, but fishing is gate kept as fuck.
Oh
right?
Yeah,
super gate kept, and I don't think people like that we just did our own thing and we were good. I really think that was the preface of it.
We didn't ask for help either. Like, we didn't go to, hey man, where's this spot? Hey,
where are you fishing at?
We did our own research. Travis was like the main researcher of the group.
Yeah, he was like, dude, I'm on Google Maps.
We had our own things like. There's other YouTubers that do this. I can't remember their name, but like they have one guy who's the researcher who does all the prepping, the planning. The other guy does something else. Like there's different jobs for all of us to do. Like you said about the overnight trips.
Yeah.
But like Travis was like the main one. I feel like who found most of the spots.
Yeah.
And then we would like break it down, catch the fish. Like, all right, this is what's working. And then we started that's how we excelled. We shared the knowledge with each other. And then brought each other up together.
What you're saying is we built trust with one another that, hey, man, Travis is fucking good at looking at Google Maps. Like when you hear hear guys talk about, I'm glad you brought that up. When you hear guys talk about get on Google Maps and do your own research, Travis was that motherfucker. Travis was on Google Maps looking up.
12 pack and just,
he would literally sit
Google
after
Maps
work
for 12 hours.
He'd look on and he'd send us pin drops.
Pretty good voice one, right?
He'd send us pin drops, and then Manny and I would break down like maybe the more Travis was like, I know how to find it, but I know how to work this fucking computer thing to fucking
you
find
did the mileage.
I would do the mileage. Like
Yep.
I loved figuring out miles, and then I'd have to tie in the CFS with the miles that we were doing. And like, hey boys, this is gonna take about 3 days. You know, it's 22 miles with 150 CFS. Maybe we should look for a shorter stretch with higher flow. It was a lot. Again, there was a lot of
so
trust.
many trial and errors too about that too. Like finding it on our own was like you drive 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you a bus. Remember how many times we did that?
Super bus. I mean, fuck. I
Everybody's like,
busted
"Hey,
my water
give me
pump.
your spot. Give me your best spot." I'm like, "Bitch, hell no."
I think that's why our friendship and our trust with one another is like we have done the legwork that made kayak fishing look cool when it comes to YouTube or any social media content now, because we would do that. We would go 2 hours, fish and catch a dick, right? And then the next time we'd go catch,
You're like, try the next spot.
catch like a 23
Try
on
the
your
next
first
section.
fucking cast. Like there was no rhyme or reason. It was just going out there and doing the legwork. And yeah, man, that was cool. Travis would do the research, and Travis was big because Travis loves to eat. Travis was big on like, yo guys, let's fucking freeze a steak. We'll have it the first night.
Oh my
Travis
gosh.
you know what I love about
He's the
Travis?
most bougiest camper I know.
Yes, dude. Hey, because you know what's cool about Travis? Travis is a motherfucker will always have a surprise for you. He'll be like, boys, I snuck a pound of shrimp. And
Dude,
you're like,
I
what
cannot
the
believe
fuck?
he brought a pound of shrimp on a camping trip. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah, dude. We're all like, Manny and I are like, yeah, steak. We caught a bass. We're going to surf and turf. Maybe it was the trip we did with the grouper. And then he's like, guess what I brought, boys? I bought a motherfucking pound of shrimp.
I
And
don't
we
know
were
how
like,
he got it to survive the whole day, but he got it there.
Dude, I'm telling you, Travis is passionate about eating and doing the research.
And
So
another cool thing that goes back to finding Google Maps spots. After so many times doing it, we kind of figured out what color was the better location.
we would look at the colors on Google Maps and be like,
depths,
okay,
the pools.
regardless of when this photo was taken, if it looks somewhat similar to that, this is Gucci water.
Yep.
If it, and then we not this, not that. And I know there's a lot of exploring left of Texas that you and I have to do, but we
There's
just have
so
lives,
much
we
more.
have jobs, we have fucking, children, etc. So it's a lot harder than being 25, and just dealing with your girlfriend.
If I was trying to be a 1950s absent father, then we'd definitely be about it.
Hey, yeah. If we wanted to be like them good old days, I'd just tell my wife, make sure dinner's ready, and I'll be fishing all day.
Yeah,
But obviously,
exactly.
we're not like that.
No.
Ideally with the pod, man, I'm hoping we can just get enough money to be able to fucking buy a fucking school bus, a short bus, and then just like set up a podcast studio and just like, travel through like different parts of Texas and go fishing.
Oh, that'd be dope. I mean, that'd be dope. Obviously, our kids would have to be older, and
yeah,
our
100%.
wives would have to be cool with that. But I hear you. Have a little
I
fucking.
almost did that. Like, I was so on the verge of like getting my thinking like a Sprinter van, converting it, living out of it.
And this may be something you've never talked about, but it's good to talk about it now on the pod. It'd be a pod exclusive. But during the pandemic, like everybody, some people either use it as an excuse or use it as a realization that fuck, I got an opportunity to change my life set right now. Let me do it. And I remember you were juggling the idea of, shit, I'm at the age where I don't got anybody. I don't have any liabilities. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have kids. Should I get a Sprinter van? Should I go full time on YouTube? And I think one day you might inevitably get back into that. Fishing and videoing together is not going to go anywhere for you and I. I mean, we're still doing it today. Now we've transitioned from maybe not worrying about YouTube, but worrying about organic views through Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever.
Or being also like more authentic. Like on my last video I posted, or not my last video, but like the life update I kind of talked about was like being more true to myself and like not trying to be some TV personality.
Maybe more vulnerable,
Yeah.
maybe like showing who you
just
are.
like joking around, like, like shooting the shit with us, like here, like you're being to yourself. You're not so much like, putting up that front, like there's a camera right in front of you.
I think that's what the pod is going to showcase with you, because I think a lot of people who wanted to see you on, or a lot of people who know us as a group of friends and a fishing group and all the shit we've been through the last 6-7 years, I think a lot of people know Manny B, the YouTuber, but they don't know Manny B, the real person in life, right? Because I think people also, when we had the beef and all the bullshit with other people in Austin, I think people thought we were a lot more arrogant and assholes than we were. But when we started started going
Dude,
to events,
that's right.
people would come up to us and be like, whoa, you're way different than they make you seem.
You know, people would tell me like, "Oh, that dude Albert's a fucking asshole."
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you've never even met him. How do you know?
you've
seen
never
what he talks about on social media.
yeah, right. And then I remember we'd go to these tournaments and people would be like, y'all are not
Yes.
what people say you are. And I was like, if I was worried about other people's opinions of me, I wouldn't,
wouldn't
I
be
couldn't.
doing this.
I know. It's like, what would I be doing? But I do remember that like vividly, where people would be like, dude, y'all are pretty fucking cool. Y'all are cool. We love the same things.
Yeah.
You're definite. Like if you got beef with us and it's fishing, bro, be ready, right? Because I can handle it, so you better handle it, right?
I remember like when I started going, like before, like we started fishing and stuff, but I would go to Austin, right, and meet Austin guys, and they would just think they're hot shit, and like you couldn't even talk to some of the people because they were like, oh, I won a tournament, oh, blah blah blah, like
that's
they
so
just walk around with a big
silly
head.
to
And
say.
then I was like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't out to go be like, oh, I'm gonna be the best kayaking or I'm gonna be the #1 most famous person ever. I was just like, I want to be just myself, you know, try to be nice to everybody, like treat other people like I want to be treated. And that, I mean, I feel like that's done well for us.
Yeah, I think so. I think what people perceive us online and when people actually meet us, it's a completely different thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I know if people hung out with you and I just shooting the shit before a tournament, they'd be like, dude, that's way different from what I thought y'all were going to be like, or from what I've heard from what y'all are like, right? Again,
There were so many stories about us. Dude, that was the funniest thing ever.
the best, right?
Overfishing.
Overfishing, right?
And we were just like, I think we just ran with it to kind of run with the hype, just for the hilarious, like funny of it, because like we would egg them on, kind of thing. And then
No, I love to.
just because they
I
would
love
get so
it.
bent out of shape, and
Yep.
we were like, we're just
What-
nowadays we were gaslighting them fools. Like,
Damn women making these words up. Just say I was lying. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. No. I get you though. We were gaslighting them, but again, once you and I smelt blood, once they showed that emotional crack, we were like, "That's it.
Yep.
That's
It's
all we
awesome.
needed, buddy."
It's a weak
'cause
spot.
Yeah,
Yep.
because then we just had a wedge and just drove it deeper. You know,
Yep.
so
And
that's what it was.
and so the ones that would talk shit, we would just rub it in so hard.
Yeah.
to them, Just to get them to shut the hell
There's a
up.
guy, man.
And now they stopped fishing and
Yeah, now they move cities, do other things,
Hey,
picked up a
smoking
ferry one. No, I'm
crack.
just kidding. So one of the best things though is
pirate looking ass.
God damn it, motherfucker! You took me off a train of thought. One of the best things is though, fuck, hold on, I'll think about it. Let's take a moment to take a product spotlight for the fuck you. I had a good
The
one.
Rippets?
Yes. No,
Rippets or
not
Ribbons?
Rippets. No.
Which one?
So let's move on, or I'm gonna try to remember what the fuck I was thinking before you made that joke. But let's do a product spotlight for the store, guys. Again, our biggest sponsor at the current moment is Outdoor Alphas. Actually, Sam's working on making us a badass banner back here. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to him. But also, I'm about to put y'all on, and I know Thomas can attest to this. This is probably the only lure that I throw for topwater, and I've only thrown this lure specifically. I don't even throw fucking hollow body frogs. This is the only frog I throw because I can work it both, like a hollow body, but also on top with movement. So like you've got the action and the sound of like the whopper plopper without two treble hooks. You've got the ability to pop it if you want. It'll walk if you want, and it can go through the thickest shit. We would throw it through what we call chipper wall, which I don't know if that's the correct name. We would throw it through mats, through pads, through whatever. But guys, Samuel finally listened and hooked up the store with every colorway and flavor of the Ribbit Top Toe. This is my go-to frog. Now, these two colors specifically, this is the white. I like throwing the white because I can see it. You're throwing it at night. You're throwing it in low light conditions. I know where my bait is at all time. And really, when that motherfucker gone. You know what I mean? You can see it when it's gone, you know? So I love the Ribbit. He's got every color and flavor here. I think they said 24. But this is a new one that I've just seen called the River Toad. I'm buying these. Like these, I'm showing them off, but I'm taking these home today because again, I'm probably gonna
Don't
go
even
up
think
to
about
Manny's. Yeah, this is like a no-brainer. And the thing about these is they only work with one specific hook. You can't put a regular EWG.
that's the tough part.
You can't throw anything. So I told Sammy, if you get them in the store, you have to get the hook because there's only one hook that works with it, and it's called the Double Take. The Ribbit frog hook. I like throwing the 1/8 ounce. A little heavier will sink too much. A little lighter won't have the action that this one does. But the 1/8 ounce comes in a 2-pack. honestly, guys, it's like any other lure. These are crazy. They come in a pack of 3. You can catch 1 fish and they mess up, or you can catch 30 fish and they mess up.
Yeah.
It really just depends on the fish and the bite. But a pack of these is like $5 or $6. A pack of these is $5 or $6. You mentioned Unpacking Yak and save 15%. I know Manny's thrown them. I know I've thrown them. Our last podcast guest, Thomas, loves to throw them. I caught hundreds of pounds of fish on this lure, and this is like what I would say iSnag TV. Put you on, man. I love these. Only frog I throw. Do you have anything to add on them?
The other thing that the funny story about these top toads, when Albert and I started fishing, we were fishing this one spot. I'm not gonna mention the name because it's really small, but I was just like, this mofo is always catching that stupid ass frog, and I was always throwing hollow body, and it took me. It's a lot harder to work. Takes more popping, more slacking the line.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I'm lazy.
And I wouldn't call it lazy, more efficient.
Yeah.
Because it did the same thing. Right?
It did the same thing plus more.
And then and so I was just like, dude, it took me forever to break down because we were so competitive that I was like, I'm not even gonna use what this fool's using just because it gives him credit. But then now we're like, hey, we just like we would give each other shit all the time. So like these top toes, man, they're unreal.
They're awesome. They're multi-purpose frogs. Again, you can fish them moving, burning. You can fish them paws. You can work them you can walk the dog with them. And again, they get bit and they stay pinned, and it's hard to get them hung up.
And back to the hook thing, like Academy would sell just the top toe but not the hook.
Yeah.
And then like who wants to go make 2 stops? So like if you have them both here in the store, like might as well make it one stop.
Exactly. I told Samuel, if you get the top toes, you've got to order the hooks. And he's like, what do you mean? Can you just throw any EW just like, no sir. The double take frog hooks, that's the one. These right here, this pair is deadly. Get out the door with a pack of these and a pack of these for under $10 with the discount code. You're welcome. You're going to be catching fish. So appreciate you guys using the code. So even with that, man, I still can't freaking think of what we were talking about, but because dude, I was just transitioning to the shit talking or whatever the hell we were going to do. But I mean, what else? What else?
Then, like, you know how like we would go to all these spots, excuse me. And then like people started really watching us, and they would like call us out like private messages kind of thing, and like, hey man, don't be sharing spots and like blah blah blah. Like, we would get shit, and like we kind of like went through that phase of like, oh, let's show everybody, like, share our experiences, help someone else on the water.
We're learning,
maybe share a spot. And we found out the hard way about not sharing, about sharing spots online. Yeah, dude, we would come back, the place would be trashed. Next thing you know, we're having to clean up trash, and it's just people do not respect nature for some reason. I don't know. They think it's like, I always throw my trash in the water because next thing you know, it disappears the next day when I come back. It's like I think the water like filtrates it or something,
or just like gets rid of it or what. But
like, what's their like thinking process of where it goes? Yeah, and it's super super annoying. Like we may sound like some freaking tree huggers or something like that, but that's just like being respectful and normal.
Because I want to make sure that my daughter has a place that was pristine as I once saw it, so I can take her fishing, and I can take hopefully if we have another kid in the future, so it's really just, I want to make sure that's where I was torn, man. Maybe we can branch off onto that, where I didn't like the YouTube scene anymore because I really felt like, how can you tell somebody to respect the water? Because if they're not going to respect the water, they're not going to respect the water. And I just felt like some of the spots were getting a little too obvious and a little too like, we'd go one time and then the next time we'd see 5 people there, which is fine. Like, I want y'all to get out there
and
if
you find it on your own, like, that's
dope.
More power to you.
But I just didn't want to keep exposing these like Texas nature beauties. There's so much water that we have fished that we didn't really get good footage on that we know where big fish is at, and we're gonna get back to it. But it's just like, after I started seeing a little more people that maybe you could just tell, right? There's always people that you could see who clearly have been doing it for a minute, and then the guy who had been kayaking 3 or 4 times, and you're like, the guy who had been kayaking 3 or 4 times definitely shouldn't know about this spot, but he knows because he saw the entrance that I left in the video, or he saw the tree that is obvious as hell, and I caught a fucking 6-pounder there.
Like, I had that one guy say he saw a rock. He recognized a rock from Google Maps off my video. And I was like, what the hell? And he goes, yeah. He's like, you want to tell me where it's at? And I was like, you already know where it's at. Like, just shut the hell up. Like, he was like trying to hold me hostage. Like, he was going to tell everybody.
Thomas is a G, and he's again, he mentioned it on the pod. I know his hasn't dropped yet, but he was like, I'm not even going to lie, man. When you brought that shit up, I definitely found some spots from y'all's video. I mean, it is what it is. So that's why I was like, you know what? Let me do short form. Let me try to, I like that, the Instagram Reels is a portrait, not a landscape. So you can kind of hide some really good spots by keeping it portrait. Really nice. So, I'm going to stick with that. And then, of course, the podcast. I like talking about fishing. I like talking kayaking in general. So
Yeah,
I've
we noticed.
I've scrapped the YouTube for, you know, some of those reasons, but I mean, I'm still going to try to maybe make more educational stuff on it or do stuff with the podcast on it.
And then
But-
like also I feel like it, so we're not coming off the wrong way, that we're not gatekeeping these spots. It's more like we're trying to protect them and conserve them. And if you have the will and power to go find them, do it. Like, we're not going to stop you and like talk shit about you.
and you're going to
It's just-
basically have the same feeling.
exactly. Once you you find a spot that's just beautiful, and you don't see anybody. That's what we go out there for, is to get away from people. Why else do you go in the nature? Like, you go hiking, you want to hear someone blasting music? No. You go rivers to go kayaking by yourself or with some friends, and you want to some peace and quiet.
Like Keith
get away
said,
from the
the
city.
healing aspect.
Exactly. And then like you want to get away from the service, you want to get from the noise of everyday life. And so once you truly experience it, I don't think you're gonna really understand where we're coming from. So it's gonna take you doing it, and then you're gonna like, dude, like, also I don't like doing handouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a
You gotta
handout.
work
If
for it.
you're gonna ask me for a spot, like you're asking for a handout, you don't want to put in the work, you don't want to put in the time. That tells me that you just want to catch a big fish the easiest possible way. You might as well just hire a guide then.
Yeah. Just get a guide. Just get a guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get a
And
guide.
so that's where I'm hoping you can that y'all can understand where we're coming from, and we're not just being these assholes and just blocking these.
Because I
badass
know
spots.
you can send us a DM, either one of us, and ask about anything from line to, again, this, I know I'm being silly, but I'm also being legit. This is a put on. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I love this lure. Like, if you ask me what's biting where, that is something, or how to tie a knot, or how to do this, or some aspect of kayaking in a kayak, that we're going to answer that. Again, we may look online like an asshole, but if you actually message us with a genuine question, I can tell you're genuinely wanting to learn. That's way different from being like, yo, man, so that 8-pounder you caught, like, where exactly did you put in
where
it?
were
They're
you?
completely different questions, right? Asking me what I caught it on and how I caught it on and what made me throw the lure where.
Yeah.
That's a lot better question than where'd you catch it? How'd you get there? How long was the drive? Where's the put in? Where can I get in and get out? Completely two different questions asking about the same fish. So I promise if you ask Manny a technique question, he's going to answer. Now, if you ask him to tell you exactly where he caught that 10-pounder and where to go and what time of day and how to launch, yeah, probably not going to happen.
Good luck, good luck,
Right?
Bucko. I'm gonna send you to boat ramp 11. Rule number 1: don't ask me where to go.
And Roland bit the bait. So tell us about that, Roland.
Dude, so
But
I was-
for the record, though, I honestly didn't think it was that bad. But it was bad.
So I text Manny. I'm like, hey, I want to take my girlfriend fishing, whatnot. Like, do you know a spot where it's easy to get in and get out, you know? And so she could kind of like learn how to use a kayak and cast, you know, all that good stuff. Manny's like, yeah, go to boat ramp 11. It's fucking prime over there. And I'm just like, okay. And I didn't put two and two together that Manny hasn't been to San Antonio in some fucking time.
Manny doesn't even fish his waters anymore. I'm going to go up there to fish his water.
Yeah, I should have asked Albert, but I think Albert was busy because he's always working. And Manny's like, go to boat ramp 11. So the day comes, we pack everything up, we head out to boat ramp 11, only for it to be fucking dry. Like they had the road closed and
It's like
everything.
100 yards to the water or something.
No, it was way longer than
No,
that.
it was probably no,
It was
because
like a mile, bro.
That is a good ways, right?
and
a mile.
even at the end of that stretch at boat
was
ramp
still
11,
dry.
where those two big trees are, it was
Yeah.
still dry. Like the water, you'd have to
My
go, you'd have to go
gosh.
down that 150 yards and then down to the left.
Hey,
trust
I was
me, I
testing you
walked
to see if you really wanted to fish. You know?
Manny was like, I just wanted to see if you were about it, bro.
Hey,
Bro,
yeah,
we show up.
That's why I
felt
know
so
you're not
bad
about it.
because me and my girlfriend show up and I'm like, what the fuck? It's all dry.
I was like, you should just put the Canyon Lake and then if you've ever fished Canyon Lake, you know that, like, yes, you may be geographically 5 miles away from somewhere, but it's fucking 30 minutes
Every
of
boat ramp
roads.
is
yeah,
far.
because you got to take so many fucking turns.
That's
and
like
shit.
the most northern boat ramp because that's what I mean. Yeah, where the river comes in. Like the next boat ramp closest is probably like an hour.
Yeah, it was, and then
Around
like
the
the sun was
way.
already
Yeah.
going down.
Oh god.
But yeah, and the man's like, you told me something. I forgot what it says. I guess you'll be forgotten or whatever. I guess that's why you'll never be
Oh, that's how I
remembered.
never be remembered. That's
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
hilarious.
You heard
He
him- you
hit,
heard him
he hit
checking
me with
mud.
that, and then I call Albert. I'm like, yo, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
He
there's
sent me
no
a-
water
he sent me
anywhere.
a picture. I was like, well, I mean, you can maybe try to salvage it and go by the lake, but I mean,
I'm
again,
like 40-minute drive to another fucking boat ramp, and it's like 2 miles away.
Oh gosh, that was hilarious.
And then Albert called me. He's like, "You're a fucking idiot. He hasn't fucking lived here in like the past year."
Fucking funny. So yeah, man. I mean, shit, dude. I'm excited to, hopefully if I end up going up there, test out some new waters up where you are, and I know we've got a lot of exploring left to do, man, of the fucking state. I mean, we've done thousands of miles together, but I know there's thousands of miles that we still have yet to do. Travis is about to have a little bit more free time than ever before in a couple months. His wife's doing her residency in another fucking country, so
Hey,
he's
real quick. What was his answer when he went to Europe?
Travis
I'm so
is
sorry. That was
hilarious
so
as fuck.
funny.
Travis is like, we were like, Travis, how was Europe? Well, it ain't American, boy, I tell you that. But, I mean, that's our friend, dude. It's our best friend, bro. It's fucking funny as fuck, dude. Down for whatever, bro. But anyways, man, you got anything else rolling? I mean, I got a couple more things to ask, but you got anything else?
Yeah, like when.
What do you feel like the people want to know about Manny from your perspective?
Just so much with Manny. It's just like, when I became friends with y'all.
How'd y'all meet? Let's go with that. How'd y'all meet?
We met through you.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell that.
Yeah. Man,
I know, motherfucker. It was my life.
So the way me and Manny met was through Albert. So Albert, I feel like when we were talking about like what every little piece of the puzzle that everybody brings, I brought on like the production side out of it, where I was able to like to get y'all to like that next level. Like that's what I feel because I had the camera gear.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. You were really good at taking. I think I've told you before. You're probably and I know you haven't had the opportunity because you're running your business. You're going through life changes, etc. You are, in my opinion, other than like guys who do it professionally, the best like on the water photographer / videographer. I think the only thing that you lack in the sense of it is that if you were like, and it's hard because you're so good at camera angles and camera work that how do you have time to be very good at fishing? I think the difference is if you were like good at fishing and understanding like the like angles, like how, like if you knew how to tie a high percentage point and your camera angle together, dude, it'd be unreal.
Yeah, and
unreal. You're more about the camera angle, maybe not, hey, let me get at this angle where Manny's at, because me as an angler, I know that that's a very high percentage point, and let me get the best possible shot for Manny. Yeah. Where right now you're just maybe like, you're going to get the shot after he's already caught it. But once you get that fish IQ, because we've been fishing a lot longer than you. It's completely different.
What's also like difficult is just like the water's at times like so thin that it's like difficult for me to even like get ahead of you, where I know like there's a potential spot where there's going to be fish, and like it's just because it'll end up spooking, whatever's hiding there. But damn, I lost my train of thought for what I was going to say.
The production side.
Yeah, so like the production side. So like that was another thing is like I was like, you called me one time and it was just like, hey, like what kind of camera I should get? And I was like, dude, get this. This is like the
Hey man, Roland saved you some money because your brother was trying to sell you a used product.
Every time, for some odd reason, his brothers will fucking charge Manny like a tax fee, like for used equipment. Like they'll give him the full, they'll basically charge him the full price that they paid for the equipment that's like a couple years old, and then they'll like add a tax to that. So Manny's like, hey man, my brother has like, this Canon 5D. He wants to sell it to me for like, what was it, $4,000 or something like that?
I think so, with the lenses and everything.
Yeah, with the lens and everything was
like
$4,000.
Super wide 16 millimeter lens, and then a 50 millimeter lens, and then of course the battery, the case. The whole 9 yards, but it was just like the fact of how old it was, kind of thing. It wasn't like terribly old, but it
was a 5D Mark IV.
What was that one thing you the shutter count, right?
Oh yeah, I told Manny, I was like, Manny,
I had no idea about their shutter counts.
I was like, dude, check the shutter count. I was like, because it'll basically tell you like the lifespan of, it's basically like mileage for a camera. And he found out, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so like Roland was a big part of helping me find the camera and stuff, but like what I was working with was like a GoPro and maybe a phone or something. Like
it would get me so angry when I would like see the quality of the GoPro on the phone.
You know how what GoPros are, actually, wide, super view, blah blah blah. It's not like what you can do with an actual camera with the f-stop, freaking shutter speed, the way you can focus, things like that. So like I had the aspect of what I wanted to do, but I didn't have the gear to do it, and like I could not make an educated decision if it wasn't for Roland helping me out with that.
No, I see that. And I don't know about your wife, but I know my wife is always like, man, motherfucker, Roland can get this fucking badass picture of you on the water holding this big ass. He can't fucking take a pic of me as a selfie. It's funny, dude. I mean, I really do. I mean,
you see our engagement photos?
Right? Like, I mean, like that's the thing. That's the thing, though. Like, Roland, what you said is
like, I would be like, this is the best motherfucker ever. And then next thing you know, I was like, bruh.
Well, no, hold on. Manny got
I was like, what? You said he was the best. I was like,
Yeah, no, hold on.
He was.
Manny.
no, it was just circumstances. I'm
Yeah.
not like, yeah, it was a circumstance.
Yeah, it was just location and all that stuff. And
Timing.
then there's like
Timing
other
was
people
rough.
there. And I was like, I didn't want the sun angle wasn't there and this and that.
Yeah, there was like freaking 3-4 other photographers trying to like jack our spot,
Yeah.
and it was just annoying trying to work because they were just standing there like, okay, like are
Yeah.
you done?
That's
It was kind of annoying.
It was a pain in the ass, bro.
No,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's
No,
just
but
like-
Roland has added that aspect. When you said that, I was thinking about everything that you've done with us and for us over the last couple of years. Yeah, for sure. No, we look a lot more official, like a ref with a whistle, because of Roland. Like the podcast stuff is the podcast. So since we did the life update, I feel like the podcast is on an upward trajectory even from that.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
wild.
it's because it's the editing, it's the B-roll, it's the behind the scenes shit you don't see. Like we're just here bullshitting, but when you chop this up and make a dope reel out of it, it looks super professional,
Yeah.
right? Thomas came in and he was like, "Where's Joe Rogan at?" You know, like I mean, like legit. Do you do have that aspect? I think that again, you're a piece of the puzzle that's now important to our lifestyle, and it's again. I think in the future, right? If this does end up taking off, and we're all transitioned from YouTube to doing the podcasting, I think one day we may be able to find a little spot we can rent $400 or $500 a month. We
Yeah,
have our own
dude.
studio. We have legit this, that, or the other. It's it's like we go out in the water, you get that fish IQ to get at different angles. We learn lakes better. And I think if you could capture some of the moments we've experienced on the water, they would be viral. in
Oh,
an
man, it's
instant.
insane.
But also just to get more people to do it. Like, damn, look at those brown motherfuckers having the time of their life catching
Yeah.
big fish with that cool angle. Like, you've got all the tools. It's just the time on the water. You need the time on the water with the camera. Once you've done it for another 2-3 years, it's going to be where it's unteachable. It's just,
Yeah.
you've got to do it for 5 years.
And
go
yeah,
continue.
the other thing that like to add on to what Albert's saying and kind of talk about like how we are, I feel like we're not the type of we're just here for the clout.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
and then
no,
like
no,
if people
not at all.
come to us, like for me, for example, like if people come to me and only just want to know me about fishing, know my spots, just try to like weasel their way into that, I can figure you out pretty quick.
Yeah, it's real
And I'll
easy to
cut
read
you
'em.
off. And but like if you're really trying to be like truly a friend, like I'm way more welcoming that way. So that's why I came friends with Sebastian, great guy.
Sorry.
Funny story about him and Roland. But anyway, so like that's kind of how it was. I was just like, look, if you're just here to try to figure out my spots, like I don't have time for you, kind of thing. And then I think that's helped us progress to build a community of people who are really care and
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
just there for the clout. Like,
Yeah.
these guys are clout, like hype guy, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fan,
yeah, yeah.
blah,
It wasn't
blah, blah,
that,
you
yeah.
know? So like I feel like we can grow a community in a different way. It may take a little bit longer, be the long route, but I feel like this is more authentic and
Everything worth something takes a minute, and
Yeah.
everything worth it takes like hard work. It takes work. I mean, to build this community you're talking about, it takes work. And work
Exactly.
is time. Time is work. Time on the water. The whole nine, right?
And
like
then,
so.
And then you hear about the kind of correlating with the comedians of like they've been doing this stuff for years, 10 years.
Everybody
years.
that we see online right now. So the
Yeah.
Andrew
Been doing
Schultz, all
Theo
the big
Vaughn,
names,
David
Theo
Lucas.
Vaughn,
David
David
Lucas,
Lucas. You talk to them, they're like, yeah, I was fucking doing comedy since 2013.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Like,
Well,
I've been fishing.
we've been
That was-
fishing since 2013, 2014. So it's taken as what we are now. We've been fishing our whole lives, but doing the YouTube, doing the catching fish for fun and filming, doing the adventure style fishing, we're kind of carving our own path. We're not guides. We're not.
typical YouTubers.
We're not your typical YouTubers who are doing that. Like we're
stuff got old
fringe.
quick.
We're fringe. I
Yeah.
would consider us fringe. We don't look like the average bass angler.
No,
we don't. And I think it's cool though. I think more people are like, damn, those guys are cool as fuck. They're funny. They're hilarious. I think. Again, we're authentic. Again, maybe you have a perceived notion of us from a social media presence, but I promise if you've met any one of us in person, it's not how we are. Or if, again, I may just be talking to nobody there, but still, if you get to know us and you show us that you're like truly passionate about the thing and about the sport, we're an open book.
And you better be able to handle talking shit.
You
No,
better.
bro, the fucking group chat's so bad.
You better. If you can't,
It's so bad.
if you can't talk shit, then I mean, if I'm not talking shit about you, I don't care about you. Like if I
Every
don't,
day
like
I wake
literally.
up and it's just like we're all out of each
Roland
other.
will find a new trans activist to send to the group chat every morning for no reason.
Because like what you see, like the people who get the fast growth is they're doing exactly what somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
And it's not authentic. Everybody's the same. And that was kind of like also turned me off. Like you haven't seen me post many YouTubes anymore videos. That's kind of turned me off is like, it seems like the only way to get in the algorithm is if you're being exactly like everybody else. A clone.
A cookie cutter version.
Or exaggerated as fuck. I caught a
Exaggerated.
10-pounder with a trolley gummy worm and
Yeah,
then a
just-
crazy thumbnail and
Or the, oh my gosh, I got a big one, guys.
Or like
and then like
it-
people were setting up scenarios and faking stuff and just
because we don't know how much of YouTube online is fake. Because for a minute there, the pranks and all that all came out as being fake. And
yeah, and
yeah, they're all orchestrated.
they were all orchestrated.
Paid
So all the
actors.
like, you know, all the like the not I don't know, maybe Nelk wasn't in it, but like a lot of the young
That was pretty good
as
until-
far as the reality of
I-
it, like being real. But some of those like joke. Like Vitaly and all those motherfuckers back in the day, a lot of that stuff was set up. It was orchestrated jokes.
100% honest, just for like my background in production, and it is set up like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not.
No, that's the way it is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all
all the
orchestrated.
fake animosity,
Yeah.
The fake,
all that stuff. Just
It's
to
always a
get
producer
clout.
on the side, like, oh yeah, now show hostility, guys. Like,
Like
yeah.
for example, like I just watched that Nelk and Andrew Schultz podcast, and they said it, and I feel like they gave it away when they said like we're not really a big podcasting page, and then I'm like, wait, did they just set this up to create tension between them just to get this podcast the views going more?
Maybe.
And then like because afterwards they were just all cool, dapping it up. I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff is on camera is like bullshitting, and it's just for the theatrics.
That's the other thing about podcasting is as fucking shitty as it is to say, how much of podcasting is orchestrated and we don't know. We're
It's-
taking it as
that's another thing.
we're
is that you-
taking it as real. Like we're like,
Yeah.
oh damn, they got beef. Oh damn, like that. We're
Yeah.
it might be orchestrated and we're
No,
just
100%.
feet buying the bullshit.
a lot of those big podcasts have a producer that's usually there on the side, and they'll just be like, all right, like start causing
Say,
beef,
like
this and that.
buzzwords and like
Yeah,
hot takes.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. You know, there's of course like other podcasts that just roll it on through and don't fucking stop recording, whatever, you know. But
Yeah, and I think that's what we're more like.
Yeah.
Our editing is very minimal. You know, if
Yeah.
there's something really crazy said or what, I don't even think anybody's said anything crazy because we're just authentic. We're just being
yeah.
We're, just
We're
being
ourselves.
each other.
The way
yeah.
we are here is the way we are in the fucking group chat.
Yeah.
Except a little bit more hostile.
Yeah. Well, the group chat we canceled all of us, but that's everybody's
like
group
the
chat.
like the Call of Duty.
Yeah.
the chats.
No, but I
Bro,
think
you're
to what
done.
Manny was saying, like we're
We got
being like at the beginning. I touched everything on the northeast side.
I have touch.
That's real. That's raw. And you got to see us cut on Manny in real time. Like that's funny as fuck. And that's how it is. So I hope that again, like you said, it may take a little longer because we're not theatrical. We're not doing
not
fake
faking
things on
shit.
the pod. So yes, it may take a couple years to get off the floor, like to where we really want it to be. But hey, I do know there is people that watch that are like, damn, I like that shit. Keep it going. I was laughing for 30 minutes at the like. That's cool. That's cool. We love the feedback, guys. Give us feedback,
Real
good or
quick.
bad.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Did you get your swim baits,
Which ones?
Manny?
Oh,
did you
did
get
you
your
get your
swim baits? Yeah,
swim
did you get
baits?
your swim baits, bro?
Did you get your swim baits, bro?
Oh my gosh. I kind of just put that away, but bro, don't even get me started. You know who I'm talking about? Hey,
You know what it is,
you wouldn't be nothing without my videos.
dude. That's for real, bro. That
like, that
that
sounds arrogant as hell to say.
No,
and,
it's
like,
not. It's not. It's
cocky as
not.
fuck.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not arrogant because I've had talked to so many guys that are like, I can't believe that motherfucker did that to Manny. Manny made him. When other people are saying this about it, it's not arrogant.
Yeah.
It's truth at that point. Like,
It's a habit.
And
It's,
like,
it's
well,
becoming
I
a
was
habit.
just on the podcast with Adrian at Scales and Tails. He was like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "I didn't know who the hell he was until I saw your catch to catch videos." And like that was probably 2017, 2016. I was
dam broke.
posting like
I think the
crazy.
dam broke really took. I think when the dam broke and you were fucking catching 7s and 8s every time you went out to Dunlap.
And then it was just like unreal cast to catch videos, like
Mm-hmm.
giant fish hitting right at the boat. I mean, you can't knock the baits. The baits did really well. They performed, but like we were talking about, it was like
It's a business aspect behind it.
Yes, like you have customer service. You still got to treat people right,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't burn people. And that's like really big for people who do custom work, especially like your custom work. If you had
Yeah.
a bad name, that shit is not good to
Yeah,
have.
it's not
So-
gonna progress.
And then all the other bait makers, it put a bad rep on them. Like, bro, I was out $200 for this one bait. And I mean, yeah, it's $200. I'm like, that's a lot of money for a freaking.
Yeah, we're not rich, bro.
But you have brought more revenue.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know. He's now in his own shop. He's now underneath another builder's umbrella.
Yeah, he's got a couple different ways because people don't want to do business. Because
people don't want to do business with that particular individual, and that's fucking insane. And I think all of this, he even said it when you called him out. You're fucking with my way of life. When the motherfucker. Dude. Respect me, right? Then I should be priority, right?
Communicate with me. Communication is key.
Not even in an ugly way, like an arrogant way. Like, then respect my shit, man. Dude, if I'm fucking with your living, I'm making your living.
Exactly.
Like, don't fuck with me.
Exactly. And then what did he tell me? I was fucking with my living, and then damn, I already lost my train of thought. But like, he was just like, oh no, he was telling me basically, oh, I don't answer my phone, or I don't respond, like. Bro, it was a month, or no, not a month.
Mind you, I don't respond, but I'm posting. Yo, dude,
yes,
he fucking posted a video of your lure talking shit about you.
Yes,
saying it's not the skateboard, it's the skateboarder.
Yeah,
I was motherfucker, like, the skateboarder made you. What are you talking about?
And then like I had like there's messages. If you saw the beef and stuff online, you saw the screenshots of him saying, "Dude, that's a dud. It looks like shit." Blah blah blah. And I was like. At first, I didn't think it was shit, but then I was like, maybe I can get him to tune it because, if you tune these things,
it was constructive criticism. Constructive criticism
from him.
No, that you were giving to him.
Yeah. So like
about
the you were literally being like, you were like, yo, bro, I usually like your shit. This one's off.
Well, like he's the one who first started the initiated that conversation of not swimming right because I was watching that drone video and it would just constantly go like this and like it's supposed to go like this, not. One like it was like hopping.
It was bailing.
It was skipping
trying to roll. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I was like, he's like, yeah, send it back. I'll tune it for you. In the meantime, I'll send you another one. And then actually, oh man, I got all these baits I wanted to get. Oh no, he didn't even say that yet. So then, so I was like, all right. I'm like, that's awfully nice. And then, because I got the bait actually pretty quick, which was super rare. Most people wait years. Sometimes years or months to get their bait, even though it's ready, and he just doesn't give a fuck. So I sent it back, and then he goes. Oh, bro, like he had it for like a week or so, and he goes, oh, dude, there's nothing wrong with it, and I was like, bullshit, and I was like, you're the one who said it was something wrong with it, and then I was like, I did put bigger hooks, yes, and then I don't know what he did with it, I don't know if he tuned it or what, but then he goes, all right, I'll send it back, and then I was like, all right, cool, I was like, well, cool deal, he said something's wrong, I was like, I didn't really care that he was lying at the point that it was there was.
You were gonna get your bait back.
Yeah, I was gonna get back. I was like,
so
whatever.
You thought.
Yeah, so I thought. And then freaking 3 weeks go by and I texted him like, hey man, I was like, if you really need, I was like, if you're hurting right now, I can pay for shipping. I can help out, like blah, blah, blah. Like I paid for shipping there.
Mind you, this whole time, every other day on Facebook, he's posting a video. Look at this new prototype.
Yeah,
look at this fucking top water. Look at this striper I caught. Look at these snakeheads.
Exactly. So all this stuff online, and then he comes back and nothing. And so I'm like, what do I do? Like I've known this guy for quite some time. Do I call him out online? Do I start some beef? Do I start some shit? Mm-hmm. And then after talking to y'all guys, like, what should I do? Because like I didn't want to go that route. That's like the last resort.
That's the last resort. Just give him my shit.
Yeah, and like I called him, nothing. Texted him, nothing. Contacted the guys he works with, Phil's Tackle Shop. They're really heavily affiliated. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just go blast him. Maybe let's get some. Let's see what's going on. And then so I blast the hell out of him, and bro. We got some beautiful reactions.
And we still, I'm counting months because I was supposed to go to Florida in March, but then it got moved to, I think, April. Or, yeah, the end of May. That's when this all unfolded. Mm-hmm. We're now coming around to the end of July. Nothing. You don't have $200. You don't have your original bait. You don't have the 3 or 4 or 5 baits he was going to send you. Mm-hmm. It's been 4 months since a call out socially, publicly, and it blew up where people are like, how could you do that to Manny B? He literally helped propel your company to the next level.
Yep.
We still don't have the baits.
Dude, it's wild. And then like, so he calls me freaking like, all of a sudden his phone works.
All of a sudden he can respond.
Yeah. All of a sudden he's like, what the hell, man? Like, this is bullshit. Like he was literally like, sounded like he was at the breaking point of crying because he messed with the wrong one. Uh-huh. And so like, dude, he got so much hate and everybody of course already knew. And like, that was the other thing that I knew
Like he was doing this to multiple people, but not
yeah.
you.
Well, like, yeah, he was doing it like that, but then I was like, all right, if I'm going to get something from him, I usually got it secondhand, and unless he sent me something. And then I was like, hey, every time anybody would ask me about his baits, I'll be like, dude, the baits speak for themselves, but I can't speak for him. Like, he's this is like a loose cannon. Well, he'll do his own thing. He'll send it when he wants, blah, blah, blah. And then you got to understand, though, when you do order custom baits like that, it does take some time. But if it's a year, 2 years into that shit, like, bro, there's something wrong.
Yeah, there's some funny business going on.
And so that's all I kind of was like trying to move away from him, but his baits were just so good. And then that was just the last straw for me. I felt heavily disrespected on that part of what I'd done for him. And like, I don't want to be like, oh, look all I've done for you.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
No, but
like,
it shows. Like,
Yeah.
it has shown over the years how many people watch Manny B's video who are like, fuck, I need a crank down, fucking, that.
Exactly. And so then it was just, everything snowballed. And then I was like, you know what? He wants to smoke. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then he even texted me. He's like, man, after all this beef, man, I'm still going to be true to my word, give you your bait back and give you all these 6 other baits that I owe you, blah, blah, blah. And that's like, what, 6 times 200? But they're about 200 pop.
Yeah, about 200 pop. So you're looking at like 200, like about 1,200, 1,400 bucks.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive for some lures.
Yeah.
And nothing. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, I don't want anything because, like, even if he did send them now, I'd just sell them, get rid of them.
Yeah, I think at this point the disrespect is so heavy, the length of time is so heavy. I think you just
I'll
again,
definitely want to use them.
the baits, because in using them would only promote.
Yeah, still
him,
promote him.
essentially, right?
Exactly.
And that's what sucks. It's like it's kind of like all these, it's like fuck. I want to listen to R. Kelly, but also like fuck. And it's not that bad, but it's that bad in the sense of like, bro, it's 5 months later, you still don't have anything.
And then like a lot of people came forward about they got burned, and there's so many people he tells, oh man, you've done so much for my company. Let me go ahead and take care of you. Like, bro, just shut the fuck up.
Golly, dude. At this point,
if you're not gonna your words don't mean anything.
Yeah, he could just say whatever.
Exactly, and that's what I'm really big on. Like, if you're gonna say something, you better freaking mean it.
Yeah.
And like when I say something, I mean it. And but yeah, so I definitely do not recommend. Can we say his name? Just to everybody to be wary.
Yeah, well, the baits. Say the baits.
The freaking taxi trout.
Trout. Fish everything.
I highly recommend not using them.
Yeah.
Basically, because you're just gonna lose your money. And then every bait swims differently, but you'll get like one good bait, and then you'll buy 4 more, and they're all duds. Kind of thing.
This is an honest review, by the way.
Honest review
About stuff, and then like. It's just that's how swim baiting is sometimes, though. You get some duds here and there, but most of the bait makers are really good about making things right. This guy,
I think I can, again, with my line of work too, it's the same. I mean, it's all custom, it's all one off, it's all what the customer wants. And again, if there's something that's incorrect or wrong or doesn't look how it should, I mean, we make it right. Like the guy that came to pick up his truck today, he was his mistake, but even so, I've been in business so long that I know that, hey, doing a solid to somebody like that only goes 10 times further. He ordered the wrong parts for his mirrors. Came in and I was like, hey, I don't know if you knew this. You got white everything, but you ordered orange LED mirrors. And he's like, what? No, they said clear. And I had to go to the website and show him, hey, clear means the lens, not the white. The white is this one. And then he was like, fuck, my bad, man, my mistake. But I was like, you know what, man? You spent so much with me. You did so much with me. You order the correct ones. You send me them. I'll paint them. I won't charge you. And he's like, for real, man, it wasn't even your fault. What do you mean? I was like, dude, it is what it is. I know you're going to tell 10 people about how you did a bang up job and you're going to help me through a mistake I made. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, it takes time to get there, but if that guy went and promoted me and brought in 5 or 6 more custom trucks and then I decided to fuck him over, like that's where it doesn't make sense to me as a business owner side of it, right? It's all mistakes happen when it's built with human hands, right? We're all human. So you make the correction, not say you're going to do it and then not do it, and we're 4 or 5 months later, blah, blah, blah.
Like, but again, speaks volumes.
People know now, though. I think people know the word has been out, not just with you. Yours was the most surprising because it's different when you fuck people over that you don't know, as fucked up as that sounds. But for somebody who's built a relationship with you and established that your baits are at a certain tier level, that's what's weird about swim baiting. There's different tier levels of clout and performance and all that. And that's why we don't really get into the theatrics of it. We find a bait we like that swims well, that catches fish, we use it.
Exactly.
But his is at an upper echelon in the swim bait world but the customer service brings it back down to maybe like a beginning stage bait maker. So, and I think people who swim bait and are in the community, they know. I think they know they're people who buy his shit know that they're kind of gambling. Like, hey, am I going to get a good one? Hey, the customer service probably going to be ass, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then like it came to a point where it seemed like he didn't even care about if the bait swam right. Because he was just like, oh, just tune it yourself. Like he didn't care.
How would you tune something like that? Like,
there's certain pins on the bottom that you can twist the weight, pull up, add more weight, or you can adjust the nose.
Gotcha.
To get it to swim right. His one, those baits would always rise up. So I would modify, like, which is normal. Like you can modify. A lot of people modify these baits, like any type of swim bait. And then back to like the level of baits, it got him. I feel like I got him to where he was comparable to like a Depths 250, and like at the time, like 2011, back like this was before his baits came out, but like Depths 250, like everybody knows Depths, like it's been like the number
and
one.
even those are tunable, and you can send them to Butch Brown and have him tune them. So swim baiting has the aspect of correcting a human error, right, or adding to a human-made product. But again, it's just the customer service behind it. Then when we're talking about the levels of echelon of swim baits, I mean, again, Manny did definitely help this guy's baits get to a certain level where his baits don't last 5 minutes on his website. And you get to that level by performance of the product, right? There's a level of clout, there's a level of this, but I mean, his baits worked, but the business side of it, not so much.
I mean, you just basically, it's like the lottery. Like, am I going to win, or am I going to get my bait that I paid my hard-earned money? Because like when you're fishing, especially if you're in a relationship and like you have a household, you have a family to provide for, and you're about to spend $200 on
it's a lot of money.
That's just for your leisure time or like just for fun.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money just to be throwing
in this economy. Fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
We got him to admit it.
In this economy, $200 go, I mean, to fucking fish. I mean, that's why we say fishing is gate kept not only by the people, but also by money. I mean, fishing's expensive, right? So, and that's why we want to try to bridge the gap to outdoor alphas, affordable products, shit that works, right? You know, so again, it's like with anything, but still, man, I'm glad you brought that up, bro. That was fucking probably the best question you ever asked, man. That was a great. That was a great question, man. It led to another 20.
Yeah, you were about to end it. I was like, whoa.
Okay, well, that's why I asked you. Okay, so anything else? Anything else?
Yeah, no.
I've got my normal questions I want to ask him to close it out. But is there anything else you want to learn about Manny B that you don't know?
I'm pretty much. This pretty much covered it. I mean, pretty much on the next episode, we're gonna have him on again. So.
Oh yeah. If I end up going over there to your place this weekend or this beginning of the week, which I made all the things happen at the shop to make it happen. We'll talk about that. We've got man. We've done everything, man. We've been did your wedding this year. We've done the bachelor party this year. We did everything. I mean, you name it, man. Fun stuff. So every pod, man, I like to close it out, dude. You're one of the guys who I feel like a lot of people down south look up to. What are 2-3 tips, man, that really helped you take your game from here to here? What are things that you can reflect back on and recollect that, damn, if somebody had told me that sooner, I might be a little better angler at a better time? What are some of the best tips you've learned that you could give to the people?
I say the best thing that I can tell any freaking buddy about fishing, if you want to actually catch, is casting. If you're not good at casting, especially on a river, or just be able to put the lure where you need to put it to catch that fish, you're not going to catch the fish that you're wanting to catch. There's like a funny example. I was fishing with my brother Samuel at Bud Lake, and we were just fish after fish after fish. And he goes, "Hey, let's cast at the same spot and let's see who catches." I literally casted probably 12 inches from the bank. He hit the bank, fell in, boom, he caught the fish. And so like 12 inches further, I would have caught a fish too. I would have caught it first. And so like, I've had where most of the time where I can just literally know when I'm going to catch a fish. If I see the spot, cast it in there, let it fall naturally, you're going to catch the fish. And that's the one thing a lot of people don't do. I notice when I go fishing with people, and like, I don't like to tell you what you're doing wrong, because a lot of people take it the wrong way and get all butthurt. Like, oh, why don't you mind your own business? Leave me alone.
You're just trying to help them out.
But I'm just trying to help, because like when you cast somewhere and people instantly lock the bell, and next thing you know, your bait comes out of the strike zone, and you hit the strike zone. Say you hit the strike zone, but it pendulums back towards you, and so you pull it out of the strike zone. So every time I skip something, cast something, I just automatically just strip out some line, pull it the slack, and then let it fall, let it sit. I'll let it sit for like maybe 15 seconds, then I'll make a move. This depends on the situation, but without that natural fall, natural presentation like that, I think that has separated me from a lot of people and and separated me to catch more fish and bigger fish.
It's kind of 2 tips in one there. So you're saying not only learning the skill of casting, because casting on a river, when it comes to skipping under a right tree limb or putting it through threading the needle through a hole or a hole in the bank or through a log, that's one, getting good at the physical, like learning your rod, learning your reel, learning the basics of casting, right? You see it with fly guys a lot. Like before you hit the water with the fly rod, I highly recommend going to a park and learning how to physically cast. So good tip. And then 2, you were kind of talking about cast placement in that. So learn where fish strike. So if there's a log here and you're throwing an 8-inch swim bait, don't throw at the log. Throw 10 feet behind the log. Bring the bait to the log naturally, right? So casting, learning the skill, but then also learning how to cast at an object on the water.
And how properly, how to properly cast at it. And the other one was... let's draw a blank now about casting placement. Oh, and body mechanics. When you're kayak fishing, I see far too many times when they're like, I hate kayak fishing because you're always getting pushed by the wind, pushed by the current, blah, blah, blah. These elbows, your forearms, everything goes into play when you're fighting a fish or fishing current.
Learning how your boat takes wind.
And like that one, like those 2 things will take you to the next level. If you can get good at using your elbows, body mechanics, and like I don't know how many times I have a rod right here, paddling with my forearm, and then paddling with this arm right here, and like my hands are free. And it's a lot of work, but like, dude, do you want to get good or you just want to be mediocre kind of thing? Yeah. And so those things that have definitely helped me excel into like fishing and being really, separating myself.
I think both of us can also attest to that, because I do feel like kayaking, you're not only, I think that's why we're so passionate about kayaking, because it has a level of athleticism. I think the really good kayak anglers are a little athletic as well. And I think that's because there's especially on the river, you're fighting the river, you're fighting the water, you're fighting the conditions, the wind, while knowing how to cast, while knowing high percentage points, while learning where to cast. So I know you're talking about, you like hitting the back pedal with your elbow, or knowing that at this wind rate, my boat tails like this and I can have about a minute before I spin out and have to adjust. Exactly. So I think it's learning your boat, learning all that. And I mean, those are great tips, especially for guys who are trying to go.
And you can watch on the videos too. Like there's a video using that dude's bait where I caught it against a big ass bass against a seawall, and the bass is going towards the seawall, and literally I don't know how, it's hard to explain when you're not doing it, but I backpedaled with one arm, and then I had my rod in this arm fighting that fish, and I got me away. So like things like that, where like fish will take you into the trees, and then people get caught up in trees and then rolling, flipping because there's a damn little spider.
Right.
And things like that. So like it helps you avoid flipping for sure. It helps you avoid getting into sticky situations where you don't want to be.
Yeah. Especially when you're riding a rapid, man. Well, we're coming in on 2 hours almost. I think that was a great first intro into who Manny B is, how we met as a group of friends, and I mean, we could talk about specific times for an hour. So we're gonna have him on hundreds of times. I would assume. Swim baits. We can do specific techniques. Maybe the next one. Now that they kind of got to learn a backstory of who you are, how you started fishing, why you started fishing, what group of friends got you into where the next group of friends took you to that level. I think people hopefully have an understanding of who Manny B is behind the camera. And man, I'm looking forward to the next one, and shit, hopefully we get on some fish in the next couple of days.
Hell yeah.
All righty, brother.
Let's go.
Good having you on. Let's go.
Camera.
Damn, Roland's like, dude, I didn't have it on.